Brand disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed by individuals on this platform, the callers plus invited guests, are their own. The information you hear does not reflect the overall views of all parties associated with this brand. We encourage everyone to research all things heard live or via archive for edification purposes. Discretion is advised.
Don't touch that dial. You're now listening to Debate Talk Free Radio.
Help keep the show on the air. If you want to help, you can send your donation to PayPal. The email is debatetalkforyou@gmail.com or through Cash.
I decided to do this particular class for obvious reasons. As many of you already know, Sal recently had a debate on his show featuring Brother Zadok versus Brother Sha'ala. And the topic of discussion was essentially whether Jesus Christ was the Messiah or not. And a lot of good points were brought from both sides. I mean, a lot of issues. I mean, I don't deny that there are issues with Jesus Christ being the Messiah, as well as there are issues with him not being the Messiah. And in a later study, I will show you that not only if you reject Jesus Christ as being the Messiah are you condemned according to the New Testament, not according to absolute Bible truth. Because people say, well, they're condemning us. I want people to understand that every religious book condemns people who don't believe it. That's just the way religious books work. The Quran condemns non-believers who don't adhere to the tenets of the Quran. The Torah condemns non-believers, or the Old Testament, the Tanakh. It condemns people who don't adhere to the tenets of it. So I don't know why everybody gets so bent out of shape when we tell them, well, the New Testament condemns people that don't believe in Jesus Christ. You know, every book condemns somebody who doesn't believe it, a religious book. That's just the way it is. I don't know what any religious text that states, hey, you don't got to believe what it says, but you're going to be okay. No religious text does that. So I hate when people try to play the victim just because you tell them, according to this, you're in trouble. Because if you want to get technical, anybody here listening tonight who is not a Muslim and has openly rejected Islam as a faith is damned according to the Quran. But y'all ain't trying to hear that. Y'all don't care nothing about that. Y'all don't care what the Quran says. So I just want to put that out there because people like to try to play the victim and try to accuse you of condemning them when it's the book you believe that's doing that. But I decided to do this because, as I pointed out, you're going to see in a later study that I'm doing that there are problems on both sides. People say, well, Jesus didn't do this. Well, Jesus didn't do that. And that's true. And they'll say things like, where in the Bible does it say that Jesus or the Messiah was going to die, resurrect, and come back in that order? Well, in that order, no. You can't put it in there like that, not in that order. But then again, it does tell you in the Old Testament that the Messiah would die and resurrect and set up a kingdom. It doesn't give you all in one lifetime or all in one setting, and that's where people tend to lose faith because they think that everything was going to happen at once. And what's so crazy is people who are adherents of Tanakh only all know that prophecy never occurs all at once. Even the curses in Deuteronomy 28, those expand over thousands of years of time. And nobody seems to be looking. They say, well, that was fulfilled. Well, excuse me, Mr. Hebrew, but you do understand that America came thousands of years after what was written in Deuteronomy 28. And you're telling me you're the fulfillment of those curses. And you're telling us that those curses are prophecies. But yet you look all crazy when somebody say, well, Jesus is going to come back one day. Well, look how long y'all been waiting. Look how long you've been cursed. You follow what I'm saying? See, nobody really thinks about things like this. And they'll tell you Deuteronomy 28 is a prophecy. So that means that's a prophecy that you can admit for yourself was not fulfilled until thousands of years later when you were born. And other prophecies in the Bible that have spanned out thousands of years. And people all of a sudden, when it comes to the New Testament Messiah, all of a sudden everybody just expects everything just to happen at once. No, if he's the Messiah, he needs to come, set up the kingdom, rule the world all at once, because that's how prophecy works. No, that is not how prophecy works. No. It's never been how prophecy works. When God told Abraham that he was gonna that his seed was gonna be in captivity for 400 years, we was talking about the Egypt captivity, not today in America. But you even put your foot deeper in your mouth if you say it's America, because that's a heck of a lot longer away for that prophecy to be fulfilled if you think it's America. You're going back to Abraham now. You follow what I'm saying? But he was talking about the children of Israel, which means hundreds of years, a couple of hundred of years from when he said that. So again, I just don't understand the hypocritical mindset of people when it comes to the Messiah, how they want to get all impatient when it comes to prophecy being fulfilled concerning him. I just don't get it. You follow what I'm saying? But I want to do this class right here because people who were once messianic, because 90% of Hebrew Israelites who are non-messianic now were once messianic. And at one time, it was the other way around, because many people don't know that the black Hebrews, when they first started out, the majority of them was non-messianic. Many people don't know that. And then some of them gradually became messianic while still rejecting a lot of concepts written in the New Testament, like Jesus being God in the flesh or the virgin birth. So they made that leap to believe it in the New Testament, but they can't quite accept everything the New Testament says. Absolute Bible truth doesn't have that problem. If it says it, we believe it. It's simple as that. And at the end of the day, if I stand up on Judgment Day, I will look God in the eye with total confidence and say, you shouldn't allow it to go in there. Why would you surround so many lies around your truth? You follow what I'm saying? See, people think they got like this fine-tuned site where they can go in the Bible and just highlight stuff that's true and just get rid of stuff that's not. I play it safe. I believe it all. And I teach it all. And I believe it's all true. You follow what I'm saying? Some things are harder to believe than others, but that's what every religion LeVar and Antoine. We all know that. I don't know why we try to pretend like things are so easy to believe all the time. People, when they come in that New Testament, y'all have to understand, people get real prejudiced. You have to understand that. These are some biased views that you are hearing. I see some stuff on Facebook. I've seen some stuff on Facebook where people will attack the New Testament, sisters and brothers, and the argument that they use against the New Testament can be equally used against the Old Testament and some. And I say, what's going to happen when that person wakes up and realizes that the same argument you're using to attack the New Testament can be used on the Tanakh too, or the Old Testament? Well, they're going to put down the whole Bible.
Whole book gone.
That's what they're going to do. And that's what usually happens. But if they hold on to it while still rejecting the New Testament, I understand that you're a hypocrite. Don't come to me and say, I don't believe the New Testament. Why? Because it's only tradition states that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John wrote their respective gospels. You can't really read that. Okay? Well, only tradition states that Moses wrote the 5 books of the Bible. Only tradition states that. You can't show me anywhere in this Bible where it says Moses wrote the book of Genesis. Or Moses wrote the book of Exodus. In fact, it tells you in the first 5 books of the Bible exactly what God gave to Moses to write. It don't say nothing about no Genesis or no Exodus. Only tradition says that, but you have no problem believing that. Then you'll say stuff like, well, you don't know who wrote Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Well, you can't tell me who wrote the book of Joshua. You can't tell me who wrote the last part of Deuteronomy. They say they believe in Joshua, but nobody really knows. You can't tell me who wrote Judges. You can't tell me who wrote Ruth. You can't tell me who wrote 1 Samuel. You can't tell me who wrote 2 Samuel. You can't tell me who wrote 1 Kings. You can't tell me who wrote 2 Kings. You can't tell me who wrote Chronicles. You can't tell me who wrote 2 Chronicles. But yet you want to get rid of the 4 Gospels because we don't know exactly for certain that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John wrote that. Why am I putting all of this out here? Because I want you to see the hypocrisy that's going on, sisters and brothers, before we get into this. And it's very biased. One thing ABT will never do is condemn or attack somebody for doing something that we ourselves do. Mm-hmm. That's called being a hypocrite. They will be like me attacking a brother for trying to read a definition to me from the Strong's Concordance. I go to the Strong's Concordance all the time. And that's what you got going on here. And they don't see the hypocrisy. But then again, that's one of the characteristics of a modern-day Pharisee. That's why Jesus was constantly battling the Pharisees, because they were so blinded by their hypocrisy, they couldn't even tell they were walking contradiction. Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do to give you undeniable proof that Jesus Christ was the Messiah is to look at the thing that makes the Bible stick out more than any other book in the world, and that's prophecy. Because what they don't understand, the ones who don't accept the Messiah and the ones who used to believe in the Messiah and rejected him, they don't understand that what the Messiah prophesied concerning 70 AD was God's way of validating him. So when you talk about a second coming and anybody who don't believe in him being damned, then you can rest assured that if he was completely right about 70 AD, why would he be wrong about the other stuff he said? And there were dire consequences for people who did not believe what he said in the first century concerning the destruction of Jerusalem. You had hard-headed people back then, some who were what? Believers of him. Because you can read in the New Testament where it says many who follow him forsook him. You can read that in the New Testament. What do you think happened to those people who stopped believing in him if they didn't repent and started back by 70 AD? And we're going to show you that even history tells you that God made a way for the prophecy that the Messiah, Jesus Christ, gave concerning 70 AD to be fulfilled. It boggles the mind of historians. They don't even know why did this happen. Like, what was the point of this? How did this even occur? Why did this soldier do this? And see, people don't look at this stuff, and people get frustrated, and they get impatient real fast, and they just throw Jesus down like, I don't believe in him. He didn't do this. And they don't even sit down and try to talk it out with people and see if, wait, is there something I'm missing? Is there an explanation? We jumped the gun too fast, sisters and brothers. A lot of us gave up on the race before we had run a single mile. Mm-hmm. So we have to understand this stuff, sisters and brothers. We can't just be like, well, it don't make sense to me, so I quit. I don't ever make rash decisions like that with anything, especially my salvation, because there's a severe penalty if you are wrong. If Jesus said, if you don't believe in me and just keep following the law and the prophets, you'll be all right, I wouldn't care if you ever proclaim him another day again. But if this man is telling you that if you deny me, you go to hell, that's not something you just make a quick snap decision about. That's crazy. They'll be like you walking out your front door and the guy is standing there holding a pistol at your forehead and saying to you that we're going to flip a coin. If it lands on head, I blow your head off. If it lands on tail, I won't. But we don't have to flip the coin at all, and you can just keep it moving. What would you do? I wouldn't even chance it. Mm-mm. But these people like, let's flip the coin. What if you're wrong? That's the question. Nobody seems to care about that question. What if you're wrong? You follow what I'm saying? Because if we're wrong, then guess what? I'm still keeping the commandments, and the Most High promised a Messiah to us. It's not our fault if he fulfills and matches the characteristics of everything you said he would do, and we believe it, and we end up being wrong. Who do you think gonna get the most mercy? Who do you think? I don't think you're gonna get that much mercy, especially if you already knew the Messiah at one time. So we're gonna get this started at first in Matthew 16. LeVar, I want you to go first. Matthew 16, and we're gonna read verses 13 to 17, because I really don't think that people really take this book seriously. I really don't. I think for a lot of people, this is a hobby. This is a way to get money. This is a way to get fame. It's a way to get women. It's a way to get attention. It's a way to get popular or popularize yourself. I don't think everybody who picks up this book really takes it seriously. Not all of it. Because when you push them up against the wall and you're like, well, it says this. So what are you going to do? And they be like, well, they coming up with all these excuses. Then you got to ask yourself, do this person really believe? And if you have to ask yourself that, then you don't want that kind of person teaching you. Because the last thing you want is somebody who don't really believe the Bible themselves trying to teach you about the Bible. So they're going to give you a very loose interpretation of it. So this is Matthew 16, 13 to 17, LeVar. Read, please.
Matthew 16 and 13, and it reads, when Jesus came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?
Notice that he's calling himself the Son of Man, because that's a messianic title.
Mm-hmm.
So he's implying it right here. He's asking his disciples, who do people say I am? And watch what they say. Go ahead.
Verse 14, and they said, some say that thou art John the Baptist, some Elias, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets.
Mm-hmm.
He saith unto them, but whom say ye that I am?
But who do you say I am? See, first he asked them, what do other people think of me? Then he asked them, what do you think of me? Watch what Peter says. Go ahead.
And Simon Peter answered and said, thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God.
There's Christ, Greek, Christos. That is the Greek equivalent of the Hebrew word Mashiach. Just in case I got some sacred namers listening who going to try to lie and say it comes from Krishna, prove it when you call in.
Stupid.
That's stupid, sisters and brothers. But these are the same people, most of which deny the Messiah. You follow what I'm saying? But people will tell you that and don't have any research whatsoever, like the brother that got mad at me on Facebook because I just asked him to show me what the word human means, man of color or man of hue. He got very upset because I just said, show me that. You follow what I'm saying? So he asked him, whom do you say I am? Simon Peter said, you the Messiah, Son of God. Right? That's who his disciples thought about him. Jesus existed. You can prove that for all kinds of outside sources. Even the Talmud validates that he existed. They just think he was a false prophet.
Mm-hmm.
They even testify that he performed miracles, though they attribute those miracles to sorcery and him supposedly learning magic in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they say. But one thing cannot be denied. There was a man who lived about 2,000 years ago named Yeshua or Yehoshua HaMashiach or called HaMashiach who was performing miracles. So we can't deny that. That's not even debatable because sometimes they'll say, well, Jesus didn't exist. And then when history vindicates them, they'll say, yeah, he existed, but he wasn't the Messiah. Even atheists are starting to acknowledge that Jesus actually existed. They may not believe any of the claims he made, but they believe, at least as a man, he existed. And you got people who act like they too stupid to even acknowledge that. But you ask that same person, do you think Nero existed? And other historical figures, they'll say, well, yeah. But yet there's more recorded evidence and testimony of Jesus existing with all the thousands of manuscripts of the New Testament than any other historical figure of that time. But you believe they existed. All you need is 10 copies of a manuscript and, you believe Caesar existed. Come on, people. It's time to be serious. There is a very prejudiced mindset against the New Testament. And I tell y'all all the time. You cannot be taught by somebody who's prejudiced or racist. Why would you do that? They're not going to give you the truth. They're going to give you their biased view.
That's right.
They would be like me in the Deep South back in the days of Jim Crow trying to find justice in a white courtroom. It's not going to happen. And they give me a choice, too. They say, well, Josh, if you want to, you can go to a court of your or the jury of your peers and get a fair trial. Now take me down to the Deep South. Take me to Georgia. Take me to Alabama. I want an all-white jury and a white judge. Why would I do something like that? Y'all say, boy, that boy's stupid. But then again, so are you if you're allowing yourself to be taught by somebody who's telling you up front or showing you up front they have a biased view against something. You got to start thinking, sisters and brothers. See, I have nothing to lose. I believe the Old Testament and the New Testament equally. So I'm not going to bash one and push the other or vice versa. I'm not going to do that. So you can't come and say, well, Josh, he's trying to put the Messiah because he loved the New Testament. I love the Tanakh too. So what does Brother Josh have to gain by promoting them both? You follow what I'm saying? But if you come in with a Tanakh-only mindset, everybody already know coming out the gate, you got a bias as far as the New Testament. But we don't. Yep. But we don't think logical like that. And see, that's what certain religions do to people. It just take all logic and reason out of the equation. But continue to read verse 17.
Verse 17. And Jesus answered and said unto him, Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven.
Now, this is one thing we have to all understand. Whether you believe in the Messiah, Jesus Christ, or not. And that's this. Number one, Jesus Christ did exist. And in another class, I can prove that. I even had a debate with a brother where, not to blow my own trumpet, I completely annihilated him on that particular aspect of the debate. He wouldn't even touch that with a 10-foot pole. You follow what I'm saying? He's talking about all kinds of other stuff. Right? But one thing we all have to admit is, one, Jesus Christ existed. But two, if he did, he was either the Messiah or he was a lying false prophet. Period. Because if he did exist and he claimed that he was the Messiah and he wasn't, then he was a liar. But if he claimed that he was the Messiah and he was telling the truth, then that makes you a liar if you deny him and damned. But he did exist. That's what history validates. And if you don't believe that, then, don't come to me talking about any other historical figure. Don't come to me talking about the Hebrew Israelites. I don't believe in Jesus Christ. History don't say that much about him. You can't. There's another one too, y'all. They try to say they don't believe the New Testament because there's things written in the New Testament that can't be validated but in the New Testament. Really? You know how many things written in the Old Testament that can only be validated in the Old Testament?
All right.
That's dumb. You can go ahead and get rid of the whole Exodus then.
Mm-hmm.
Go and just throw that out. Go and just get rid of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is no historical evidence outside of the Old Testament that there was a group of people called Hebrew Israelites in Egypt as slaves. You can speculate all you want to, but there's nothing that concretely states that. So you accept that on faith. You were not there.
Right.
You did not witness it. You accept that on faith.
On faith, that's right.
And we do the same thing, and look at them, those Zeus worshipers. Y'all just do everything written before our time. We accept it on faith. We didn't meet no Moses. I don't know what Abraham looked like. I wasn't in the Garden of Eden. Why do we folks try to act like when we get to the New Testament we're imaginary, but when you're in the Old Testament it's all real? None of us today witness any of this stuff. People, let's stop playing games. You were not there. And to be perfectly honest, the further back you go, the harder your belief in something's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But we got it so backwards, we want to jump back 4,000 years and say that's more legitimate than something that happened in the last 2,000 years. When everybody knows, any historian will tell you, the further back you go, the more evidence starts to dissipate, starts breaking apart, starts breaking down. Everybody knows that. See, I'm throwing this stuff out here because I want y'all to see how there is a very prejudiced, biased view against the New Testament. I approach them both the same. But if I'm going to work backwards, then I hit the New Testament first. Because working backwards, that comes first. Then the Old Testament. But let me show you something else. Go ahead. You already read that. The Messiah said, Jesus said, flesh and blood haven't revealed to you. When you say I'm the Messiah, that comes from the Father, right? Now, let's go to Mark 14, that's one. He either lied, sisters and brothers, or he told the truth. Either he was Messiah or he wasn't. If you say he wasn't, but he did exist, and I'm going to show you that he did claim that, then you saying, yeah, it was a guy named Jesus that existed, but he was a liar. Well, how was he a liar? Because some of them, they like to straddle the fence. They'll tell you, well, I don't believe Jesus was the Messiah. Well, do you believe he was the prophet? Well, what you mean, well, if you don't believe he was the Messiah, then you don't believe he was a prophet, because he claimed both.
Yep.
If he was not the Messiah, but claimed to be the Messiah, then he could not be a prophet, because a prophet would not lie about being God's anointed one. Just like John the Baptist didn't. When they asked John the Baptist, who was a bona fide prophet, are you the Messiah? He said no. You know why? Because a bona fide prophet would not lie about being God's foretold anointed one. So don't get all, I don't know. No, if you don't believe you're the Messiah, then you don't believe you're the prophet either, because he claimed both. You follow what I'm saying? And you can't say you don't believe he was a prophet, but you believe he was the Messiah, because he claimed he was a prophet. And God's anointed one would not lie about being a prophet. Just like a prophet would not lie about being God's anointed one. This is an all or nothing deal, sisters and brothers. But we're going to show you this. This 70 AD, you can't get around this, right? Mark 14, 60 to 62, and 20. Read, please.
Mark chapter 14, verse 60. And the high priest stood up in the midst and asked Jesus, saying, Answerest thou nothing? What is it which these witness against thee?
This is when Jesus is on trial. They're asking him all these questions. He's not opening his mouth in response to a defense. Why am I bringing that up? Because the brother said, Isaiah 53, said he was dumb as a lamb led to his slaughter, but you go to the New Testament and he talking. That means he was not dumb. No, when it said as dumb led to the slaughter, that means he did not open his mouth to defend himself. It does not mean he did not open his mouth, period. I'm pretty sure he screamed out when they were whipping him. You have to keep it in context, sisters and brothers. When he was led away to be crucified, it said women were walking behind him weeping. He turned and told them, don't weep for me, weep for yourselves and your children. That's dialogue, sisters and brothers. As he's being led away. When he was talking to Pilate, Pilate was asking him all kinds of questions. Are you a king? He was talking back. That's dialogue. So what did it mean when he said he was led away dumb like a lamb to his slaughter? Well, when you're leading the lamb to its slaughter, sisters and brothers, you're leading it away to be killed. He did not protest being led away to the slaughter. He did not speak against that. That's what it meant when it said he was completely silent, dumb in that sense. He didn't make any noise trying to prevent the slaughter. Well, what about when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane? He was by himself, praying to the Father, and he said, if it be your will. We don't even think about stuff like that. Some of the dumb stuff we throw out there show that you left the New Testament a little too prematurely. Mm-hmm. You really did. And there are other things, but we'll get off into that as we go on. Go ahead and read, please.
Verse 61. But he held his peace and answered nothing. Again, the high priest asked him and said unto him, Art thou the Christ, Son of the Blessed?
Are you the Mashiach, the Son of the Blessed? Are you? This is a direct question. And you'll see from reading another gospel that the reason why he answered then is because he made him swear under oath. The high priest made him swear under oath, and according to Israel law, Torah law, if you somebody makes you say something under oath, like they adjure you, you have to open your mouth. That would come out forswearing yourselves. So he had to say something then. Well, they asked him, "Are you the Mashiach?" And what did he say?
Verse 62. And Jesus said, I am. And ye shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power and coming in the clouds of heaven.
So when they asked him, are you the Mashiach? He plainly said, I am. If Jesus did exist and he was not the Mashiach, then he lied when he said he was. Why am I making such a big deal about this? Because you got brothers who don't believe in the New Testament anymore, but you ask them a plain question like, do you believe that Jesus was a prophet? And they're like, well, he could have been. No, he could not have been. Because if you don't believe he's a Messiah, and he said he was, then he can't be a prophet because the prophet would not lie about being God's foretold anointed one.
Yep.
Don't play games. Don't try to be too scared to put out there. That's one thing I got to give Allah credit for, is at least he's putting out there what he believes, unlike somebody who shall remain nameless. The only clue I give you that he debated Lamar. And when asked the same question, he didn't want to just come clean and be like, yeah, I don't believe in him. I don't believe he's a prophet. I don't believe he's the Messiah. So it's not play games. If he existed and he claimed that he was the Messiah, he said that he was the Messiah, and he was, then you lying when you say he ain't. And you going to hell. That's what people don't get. Those are the consequences if you are wrong. Show me hell or a consequence for me for believing in Jesus Christ in the Tanakh. Show me hell. Show me that. Show me eternal damnation. Show me that from the Tanakh. Don't go to the New Testament. Go to the Tanakh and show me. Well, you believe in a false prophet. Man, see if he was a false prophet. Well, just because he told the truth, Josh, don't mean that he was a true prophet of God, because it says in the law that if a prophet comes along and does whatever, we gonna read that. I ain't gonna get to it. Let's read. Let's go to Deuteronomy 13, LeVar. I'd rather read it. And let's see if Jesus Christ did this. So I know some brothers out there listening. Just because he made a prediction don't mean nothing. He still could be a false prophet, but it's only one stipulation given in the law that lets you know if somebody can make a true prophecy but still be a false prophet. This is Deuteronomy 13, verses 1 to 3, LeVar. Go ahead and read that when you get there.
Deuteronomy 13:1, and it reads, if there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and gives thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign or wonder come to pass, whereof he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other gods, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them.
Now see, here's the stipulation. See, you can't tell me that the Messiah can make false prophecies, make true prophecies, and still be a false prophet, unless you also have to show me that in the process of making true prophecies, but yet still being a false prophet, he was telling you to worship other gods. That's the stipulation. But if he didn't do that and his prophecies came true, why are you telling people he's a false prophet? And we're going to see that he told you to worship the God of Israel. We're going to show you that. So if he's telling you to worship the God of Israel and his prophecies came true, how is he not the Messiah? Well, he was just a prophet, but he claimed to be the Messiah. And a true prophet would not claim to be God's anointed one if he's not. So you stuck.
That's right.
And if we show you that his prophecies came true, then why are you rejecting him? Well, he didn't do everything he said that the prophecy said the Messiah was going to do. If you really read the Tanakh, it's impossible for the Messiah, who was one individual, it was never split into two, Messiah ben David and Messiah ben Joseph. Oh, yes, I know the doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
It only speaks to one Messiah, right? There's no way the Messiah can be both a conquering king and a suffering servant simultaneously. There's no way. So that's why they split him into two personas. And they gave you Messiah ben David, that's the conqueror. And then they gave you Messiah ben Joseph. And then when you back him into the corner, I'm not talking about all non-messianic, because all of them don't share this excuse. But if you ask them, well, they, well, which one is supposed to come first? Well, you know, if Israel repent, Messiah ben David. If Israel is wicked, Messiah ben Joseph. Well, who is Israel today? The so-called Negro. Is the so-called Negro wicked or righteous as a majority? No. So we're waiting on the suffering servant then. So who is this suffering servant that's going to come and die? You follow what I'm saying? Then you got the brother who said that when the Bible was translated, the Christians mistranslated verses on purpose to make them messianic. And I'm going to do a whole lesson on Debate Talk for You, a Debate Talk for You exclusive, showing everybody that every messianic prophecy that the Christians came up with from the Tanakh were Hebrew messianic prophecies first. In other words, the Christians didn't invent nothing. So don't come on here lying on Psalms 22 and 16. See, when they translated King James, I'll show you the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Essenes.
Research. That's right.
The Essenes interpreted Psalms 22 and 16 to be messianic. So don't say the Christians did. The Essenes were not Christians. You follow what I'm saying? The Quran community were not Christians. And I can show you other rabbis even after that, years after that, still interpreting Psalms 22 to be 16. Ain't a Christian in sight. They interpret it to be messianic. Not a Christian in sight. So why would you come on here and lie and say it was mistranslated by Christians? Somebody told you that. Because I don't think you would just lie. You just took somebody else's lie for face value. That's what you did. But that's another lesson. Right now, we got to get to this undeniable proof. Right? So, go ahead and read verse 3, please.
Verse 3. Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For the Lord your God proveth you to know whether ye love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul.
That's funny, too, because he said the Lord thy God proveth you to know if you love him with all your heart and with all your soul. Right? Now, let's see if the Messiah, because there's no denying. Even the non-Messianics, they can't deny that the stuff we're going to read that took place in 70 AD is exactly how the Messiah called it. They can't deny that. So they'll try to say, well, he was telling them to serve another God. Y'all say that Jesus is God. Yeah, but Jesus never told anybody to worship him. He never once did it. People did it, but he never told anybody to do it. Let me show you who Jesus preached. Matthew 22, Antoine, verses 35 to 40. Let's see who he told you to serve and what he told you to go by. Because I don't get it. You got a guy claiming to be the Messiah. Let me get that with you. Making true prophecies, right? And this is who he's telling you to worship. Matthew 22, 35 to 40. Go ahead and read, please.
Matthew 22, verse 35. Then one of them, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him, and saying, Master, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Verse 37. Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind.
Wait a minute. Didn't we just read something similar to that in Deuteronomy 13? That after relating to how you can tell if you're dealing with a false prophet or a true prophet? It don't go by if their predictions come to pass or not. It go by if they try to tell you to worship other gods. But he also said, God proves you to know whether you love him with all your heart and with all your soul. And so on and so forth. And the first thing Jesus tells you when asked what's the greatest commandment is to do exactly that.
Exactly.
Yep.
So he's taking you back in a sense to how you can distinguish between a false prophet and a true prophet, taking away predictions out of the equation. He's taking you back to that. And watch what else he says. Go ahead.
Verse 38. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
Now, this is a lot to be gathered from this simple discourse right here, because number one, if he's telling you that the greatest commandment is to love the Lord thy God, he's telling you to worship the God of Israel. He ain't telling you to worship no Zeus or no Hermes or no Horus. He's telling you to worship the God of Israel.
That's right.
So he's not telling you to worship another God. So you can't say, well, even though his prophecies came true, you still can't trust him because he's telling you to worship another God. He told you to worship the God of Israel. And he's even quoting Tanakh.
That's right.
Yep. Quote.
That's what he's doing. In fact, I have yet another lesson showing you that every time one of Jesus' adversaries approached him, he took him straight back to Tanakh.
That's right.
Every single time. And yet, some of these brothers that claim they're Tanakh only, you ask them to show them, ask them to show you something, and it ain't even in the Tanakh, but they say believe it.
Yep.
But you want to condemn Jesus, and he took you back to the Tanakh and quoted it so you can find it and say, well, that's what it says.
They go in the
But you ask them, what? Yeah, commentary, quote commentary. Well, why does it say this, bro? Or why does it say that in the Tanakh? Where does it say that at? It wasn't documented. It wasn't documented. Okay, so if we don't go that route, then let's play a little game right now, LeVar. I'm going to ask you something that you know ain't in the Bible, but I want your question to be, it wasn't documented. LeVar, where in the Bible does it say it's okay to be a homosexual?
No, it wasn't documented.
It was, but do you see how you just made homosexuality okay because you just straight made it okay by saying it wasn't documented. In other words, it's okay, you just can't read it.
That's right.
That's basically what you're telling me.
Mm-hmm.
You can to do that? Come on, y'all. If you can't read it to me, then, or show me where it's heavily implied, I'll even accept that. If you can show me where it's heavily implied, I'll accept that.
Mm-hmm.
He referred you back to Torah law, back to Tanakh, right? But let's see something else. Let's go to Matthew 23. This is you, LeVar. Matthew 23, 37 and 38. Because this thing is getting crazy. Like during the debate, some guy called in, one of the first callers. We need to stop debating over this, and we need to get into this Torah law. How you going to say we need to stop debating? No disrespect to the elder, but what are you talking about? No respect to old, when I say elder, I'm talking about old people in this context. I'm not talking about an elder teacher. No disrespect to old people in context, but sometimes they just need to shut up. And what I mean by that is, one thing we do know is old people, not all of them, but a vast majority of them, they love to ramble.
Yep.
You got to cut them out. Sometimes old folks just need to just shut up. You know how they say, stay out of grown folk business, stay out of young folk business. This ain't important. I'm sorry, the Messiah. God foretold anointed one. He's not important.
Mm-hmm.
That's not important. That's not something. You want to talk about something not important? Let's talk about debating over a syllable in the Messiah's name. Is it Yahushua or Yahusha? Why were you when that silly debate took place?
Exactly.
Where were you then? I would have been amening you all night if you would have called in saying something about that, because that's what I said when I called in. This is ridiculous. These fellas are arguing for 3 hours over a single syllable. Nowhere to be found, Mr. Elder. But some brothers are arguing over something that both of them believe is of the utmost importance, and you tell them just 86 that. Yes, I'm letting it all fly tonight. I don't care if he listens. I don't be the first one to call in. I tell him when he call in, shut up. You need to shut up because this is something serious, bro. We ain't arguing over little minor stuff. You know what I'm saying? We ain't grasping at straws. This is a serious issue. And you want us to 86 it. So we all need to come together. How are we going to come together and we divided on who God's foretold anointed one is?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The second I give honor to the Messiah, regardless of what name I use, every non-messianic in the room going to be sucking their teeth. He's on that Jesus. He's on that Yeshua. You know? How's that gonna work? But ask that same elder who said he's been doing this 30-something years, would he let somebody bring pork to the Passover feast? Ask if he'll do that. No, you can't do that. What's wrong with you? We're supposed to be eating no swine. So you can see how when people don't agree on something, it can be a problem then, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
See, sometimes people just need to just shut up. You know what I'm saying? Even the Bible says even a fool is accounted as wise when he holds his tongue.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Even a fool. Go ahead and read when you get there, LeVar. Matthew 23, 37, 38.
Matthew 23 and 37 thus reads, O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets, and stonest them which are sent unto thee, how often would I have gathered thy children together, even as hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and ye would not.
You know how often I would have gathered you together, Jerusalem. He's talking to Jerusalem, right? And notice how he's making himself the vocal point of Jerusalem's destruction. He said, how often I would have gathered you. I wanted to gather you, but you would not. The brother who was debating against Bro.Josh said, show me where the people rejected the Messiah. How often I would gather you, but you would not. That means you wouldn't allow me.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't allow anybody to do something for you, that means it's because you reject him.
Mm-hmm.
How about John 1 and John verse chapter 1? He came to his own, and his own received him not.
That's right.
That's not rejection. How about Acts chapter 2? When Peter gave that whole sermon about you slayed the righteous one and free the murderer. What should we do? Repent and be baptized. He was telling them, you rejected him. How about the fact that he ended up on the cross? You can't get more rejected than that, sisters and brothers. They received him. How they receive him if he end up on the cross? You don't crucify people you believe in. Let's use a little common sense here. Come on. But go ahead and read that verse 38.
Verse 38. Behold, your house is left unto you desolate.
Your house is left unto you desolate. Talking about the temple in Jerusalem. Now, we all know that the book of Daniel chapter 9, Daniel, the prophet, prophesied that Jerusalem would be destroyed. He did. But Daniel, the prophet, did not go into any detail about how this was going to unfold. None whatsoever. So if we read the details that the Messiah goes into, and it all lines up perfectly, including how to escape the destruction, and history tells you that people that believe him escaped the destruction, then that's undeniable proof that he was the Messiah. And it also shows you something else. It foreshadows what happens to people who reject the Messiah. Because everybody who did not escape Jerusalem, and even the non-Messianics will tell you this, in 70 A.D., were horribly killed. And the ones that weren't killed went into slavery. But yet we're going to show you that not a single Christian perished in the destruction of 70 A.D. Not one. No recorded evidence of a single Christian because they believed in the Messiah. It's gonna be it's gonna be some ugly deja vu when the Messiah makes his second return. Because this is what God is trying to do. God ain't just gonna let this guy named Jesus or Yeshua or Yehoshua walk around in the first century making all these claims and leaving no way for us knowing if he was really who he said he was. This is what God always does. Whenever God really wants to prove to you who he is, he makes a prophecy. And if it happens, you know he's telling the truth. If it doesn't, you know it's a lie. So if the Messiah said he represents the Father and he makes a prophecy, he's already making a prophecy about Jerusalem. Here's something else we need to take into account too. The Messiah said that's going to happen in that generation. There's no way he could have got that from the book of Daniel. Unless you agree that the calculations lead you to the first century, which you don't. So you can't say that. So if you don't believe the calculations lead you to the first century, would mean the Messiah will have to appear in the first century. If you don't believe that, then now you got to explain to me, how did the Messiah know that was going to happen in his generation? All Daniel said was that, the four beasts were going to destroy Jerusalem, the city and the sanctuary. That's all he said. But if you don't believe the calculations of how to calculate the weeks or years, because y'all don't want to let that refer to the Messiah. Y'all don't want to record that. Y'all don't want to consider that messianic, or y'all want to make that refer to David. Yeah, David, King David. Yeah, King David was around in the first century, y'all. Did y'all know that? He was around in the first century. Be serious. Who was this? Well, it's come out Cyrus. Because even you want to believe in Cyrus, the sequence of events will tell you sometime after Cyrus, guess what? The temple going to be destroyed.
Going to be destroyed. That's right.
So the temple going to still be destroyed. So when was that going to happen? Well, that happened in the first century. Well, how did the Messiah know it was going to happen in the first century? That happened about 40 years after he made this statement, sisters and brothers. How did he know?
Yep.
And he even referred you to Daniel in Matthew 24. When you see the abomination of desolation that's spoken of by Daniel, the prophet, stands in the holy place. See, the Messiah understood that prophecy to be fulfilled in the first century. And he was right. If he would have said that and Jerusalem would have been destroyed like 135,000 years afterwards, you're like, man, he don't know what he was talking about. But he plainly said, these things shall happen in this generation. So how did he know that Jerusalem would be destroyed within that generation? How did he know? These are the questions they can't answer. How did he know that? Daniel didn't tell him that. You can't tell me from reading Daniel that you know specifically what generation that's going to happen in. But if you say that you do without believing in the New Testament, then you're going to have to believe that the order of events lands the Messiah in the first century as well. And he can't be Cyrus. So you're trapped either way. Let's not play games. And for all of y'all to just say that, Messiah just means anointed one, well, duh. It's still a title. You follow what I'm saying? Just like Son of Man. The same word translated Son of Man in one place is translated Son of Man in another place. Same Hebrew words. But the context shows is this a title or if it just means Son of Man in general, would just mean son of a human. So just because you showed me that Mashiach means anointed one, I can show you that all of Israel was anointed. As a nation, they were the Mashiach. I can show you that David was anointed. He was a Mashiach. Mm-hmm. But we're talking about a specific individual that was supposed to do stuff. And Cyrus was a Mashiach? Yeah, if he was anointed. They even anointed inanimate objects. Mm-hmm. I'm not caught up in the definition. I'm caught up in the application.
That's right.
Who is it applying to? I don't care about the definition. We all know what it means. Let's be serious, sisters and brothers. Let's stop trying to play semantics and try to stop getting away from the obvious. The Messiah said, behold, your house is left unto you desolate, and he let them know in other places that it's going to happen in your generation. Meaning some people who were alive then are going to witness that. Mm-hmm. That's what that means in this generation. But let me show you something else. Let's go to Luke 21. We're going to be in Luke. I don't want to read in Matthew 24 because I got a whole YouTube class called Matthew 24. I want to do it in Luke so y'all can get something different. Don't come at a different angle with it. And I don't want to turn this into a Matthew 24 future or fulfilled class either. So what that means is I'm only going to show you prophecies that were fulfilled outside of the Bible. I'm not going to show you where the Messiah made a prophecy in the New Testament and then show you in the New Testament where that prophecy came to pass. That doesn't prove anything. Not to somebody who don't believe in the New Testament. In other words, the Bible says this is going to happen, and then the Bible says this happened. That's kind of a circular argument. How about I show you the Messiah said it was going to happen, and non-Christian contemporary sources say it did happen? How about that? We do it like that now, can't nobody wiggle. Can't nobody be like, well, nah, you making that up, or they're just a lucky guess. That's a lucky guess? Really? So it was a lucky guess on how he told the Christians how to escape, and they did? It was a lucky coincidence, which we're going to read, that when the soldiers of Rome surrounded Jerusalem for no particular reason at all, that's not what I say, that's what Josephus recorded. For no particular reason at all, they just withdrew their troops. No reason at all. Oh, we know what the reason was. God withdrew them so Christians could escape. To this day, they can't figure it out. Why did this guy surround? Because the Messiah told you when you see Jerusalem compared with orders. You can't escape if you're surrounded. So how can that be a sign to escape? Well, first I let them surround, then I back them up. Now you can get out. So we're going to read that. Right? Now, Luke 21, 5 to 8. I think it's you, Antoine.
Yes.
Go ahead and read.
Luke 21, verse 5. And some spake of the temple, how it was adorned with goodly stones and gifts, he said, as for these things which ye behold, the days will come in the which there shall not be left one stone upon another.
All we're saying is that the days don't come, is that one day this temple going to be destroyed. He's telling them that. And he wasn't vague about it either. Because I could say that about America. But what happens when people from the Debate Talk for You audience start calling in and asking me, okay, Josh, when is it going to happen? If I say, in this generation, that means if you got like a baby 1 or 2 year old walking around, that means by the time he's 30 or 40, he should witness that. Because that would be that generation. And if you blessed, if you like in your 20s or 30s, you should see that too. Because that'll put you in like what? Your 50s or your late 40s? So you'll see it too. But if you ask me when it's going to be, no real day, like it could be today, it could be 30 years from now, it could be 100 years from now. No, it said this generation. And it happened in that generation in the first century. Somebody tell me how he know that. If he's not the real Messiah. How did he know that? You can't deny prophecy. How did he know? And how did he know exactly what they needed to do to escape and when to escape and what to look for? How did he know all of that? That's what I want to know. And if somebody try to jump up and say, well, the book of Luke and all the Gospels were written after the fact, I got another class showing you that they were written before 70 AD. And the first century people were quoting them, including Luke. I showed that in that debate that Zadok had with Garfield. You know, when he was asking me to call in, anybody to call in and show him proof of that, and I called in and he promised that he wasn't going to say anything else that night. And then when I called in and gave him exactly what he had been begging for all night, he said, well, Zadok got to show me. The point being, sisters and brothers, is there is evidence that the book of Luke and Matthew and all the other ones existed before 70 AD. So you can't say it was written after 70 AD and was trying to pretend to be a prophecy. You can't say that. So my question is, how in the world did he know? Let's prove to you that he knew first, right? So read verse, let's see what I told you to go.
7. We're on verse 7.
7. Go ahead and read.
St. Luke 21, verse 7. And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass?
Now, that's a legitimate question. When is this stuff going to happen? You say Jerusalem and the temple going to be destroyed. When is it going to happen? And what signs do we need to be looking for? Go ahead and read.
Verse 8. And he said, Take heed that ye be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and the time draweth near. Go ye not therefore after them.
He said, many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ. In Matthew 24, in another verse, it says, many false prophets shall rise and deceive many. Right? They're going to come in my name. They don't mean they're going to come saying they're Yeshua or Jesus. I mean they're going to come claiming his authority.
Right.
Either as the Mashiach or as a prophet, right? And he says, saying that the time draweth near, the end draweth near. Go ye not therefore after them. This is a sign that the Messiah said would happen concerning the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple. Let's see if that was the case in the first century. Lamar, go to Josephus. We're going to Antiquities 20.5.1. 20.5.1 in paragraph 97, all the way to 99. Josephus, Antiquities, book 20. Y'all know who Josephus was. He lived during the first century, and he witnessed this stuff. He led a revolt against the Romans at first until he was captured, and then he ended up repenting and started trying to talk Israel out of this foolish rebellion. Something the Messiah told them also not to do. Something Paul told them not to do. Something Peter told them not to do. Y'all do know that Jerusalem was destroyed because Israel revolted against the Romans. Y'all do know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when did the Messiah tell us not to do that? He said, render to Caesar the things which are Caesar, render to God the things which are God. In other words, pay your taxes. That's the main reason why Israel revolted against Rome, because Rome had them as tributaries. They had to pay taxes to the Romans. They got tired of that junk. Jesus said, keep doing it. Paul said, submit yourselves to the higher powers. Peter said, be subject to the higher powers. See, the apostles were telling you, don't revolt. Everybody else said revolt. And what happened when they revolted? They got annihilated and put into captivity. But if you would have listened to the Messiah, that would have never happened. Nobody want to listen. Just like today, nobody want to listen. I don't believe he don't know what he's talking about. You're going to see what happened to everybody else in the first century who thought he didn't know what he was talking about, who thought they were smarter than him. Because when 70 AD came, boy, it was hell. Any historian will tell you that. Millions of Jews died. Millions. Millions of proselytes died too. Millions. That's a pretty big ratio. Millions of Jews, no Christians. That's a pretty big ratio. Millions of Jews, no Christians. And the only catalyst that separated the two was believing in this man who is known now as Jesus Christ. That made the difference between not a single person perishing versus millions of people perishing. That sounds kind of scary, because it sounds kind of like today. And he don't just throw him down. I don't believe in him, you know what I'm saying? Okay, you do that. And we're going to take a look, because see, that's what I like about this God that we serve. Because he'll show you, because one thing, that we serve a God of repetition. We serve a God of patterns. He do something the same way so many times that you can pretty much call yourself a prophet, because you can see it coming. So if the Messiah told people that back then, if you don't believe my words, you're going to die. And we see that history proves that's exactly what happened. Then why in the world would you let somebody today jump up and tell you, stop believing? When the man has already been vindicated by history. Where's your Messiah at who's been vindicated by history? Where is he? You want me to throw my Messiah away, but he's been vindicated. Y'all know what vindicated means? Proven through history. Proven. Tested and proven. He was walking around back there making all them claims, and the majority didn't believe. You crazy. They called him crazy. That's in the New Testament. You crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. I wonder how crazy they thought he was when they thought it was no way out of Jerusalem. And Romans were going in there cutting their bellies open, thinking that they swallowed money and ripping their babies out and starving them. And they had to eat their own babies. I wonder how crazy they thought them Christians was, who was long gone by the time all that was happening. They ain't seen so crazy then, did they? We don't think about stuff like this because we don't know our history. Right? Go ahead and read that, LeBar, Antiquity 20.5.1, paragraph 97 to 99. Go ahead and read. It's about these false prophets.
Josephus' Antiquities of the Jews, 20.5.1 and 97, concerning Theudas and the sons of Judas the Galilean, and also what calamity fell upon the Jews on the day of the Passover. And it reads,
well, what a time for it to happen too, on the Passover too. Of all the times for it to happen too, right? Go ahead and read.
That's right. And it reads, now it came to pass, while Theudas was procurator of Judea, that a certain magician, whose name was Theudas, persuaded a great part of the people to take their effects with them and follow him to the river Jordan. For he told them he was a prophet, and that he would, by his own command, divide the river and afford them an easy passage over it.
So he thinks he's Joshua. That's what he thinks he is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and read. And he calls himself a prophet. Go ahead.
98. and many were deluded by his words. However, Thetis did not permit them to make any advantage of his wild attempt, but sent a troop of horsemen out against them, who, falling upon them unexpectedly, slew many of them and took many of them alive. They also took Theodas alive and cut off his head and carried it to Jerusalem. This was what befell the Jews at the time of Custis Thaddeus' government.
See, Jesus had already told everybody that believed on him, it's going to be some false prophets and false Christs rising up. He said in Luke 21, go not after them. Don't follow them. You had Jews who didn't believe in Jesus who followed this fool. No Christian went for that.
That's right.
They said, no, the Messiah already told us, don't do that. But this is exactly what Jesus said was going to happen. Let's look at another one, LeVar. Still in Antiquities 20. Go to 20.8.6. And we're going to read 169 to 172, paragraphs 169 to 172. This is all first century stuff. How in the world did the Messiah know that leading up to the destruction of the temple and Jerusalem, all this stuff was going to be going on? Somebody tell me how he knew that, but he ain't the Messiah. But I don't even care about that, sisters and brothers, to tell the truth. What I care about is the way of salvation he made out for those who did believe in him. That's the point. That's the key. Because everybody who didn't believe him either died or went into slavery.
That's right.
And not a single person who believed him had to go through that. I mean, it was brutal. Y'all know about that. Even the non-Messianics, they know about 70 AD. Don't call and act like you don't know about 70 AD. Y'all know about it. That was brutal. But the believers in the Mashiach didn't have to go through it. But you trying to get us to deny him again today so we can be a 70 AD all over again.
Man, please.
No, not me. I'm going to listen to him.
That's right.
You can have that. You say, yeah, you go follow these other prophets because they speak a little Hebrew. This guy named Theudas, he had to be pretty profound. He had to be pretty charismatic for them to follow him.
You know it.
The Messiah had to tell him, don't do it. If we were back then, I would have been the same way. Yes, Lord, I ain't doing it. Like, I was like, LeVar, you can go listen to that fool through this? You going to do that, LeVar? What about you, Antoine? You good?
No, I'm good.
I'm not doing it. And everybody that followed him either got killed or went into slavery. And you know he was doing some kind of rebellion. That's why the governor the procurator, Thaddeus, sent his troops after him. He was rebelling in some kind of way. Something the Messiah told us not to do. Something Paul. See, Christians were law-abiding citizens. They often got ridiculed because they didn't want to fight against the Roman government. See, the Messiah had already told them, you ain't got to do that. You ain't got to do that. You ain't got to be no zealot. You ain't got to be no rebel. Don't you know this whole thing's going to get towed down anyway? What you fighting for?
Exactly.
You fighting for a city that's going to be destroyed.
That's right.
Yeah, they fighting the inevitable.
Yep. All the Christians were doing was just sitting back, waiting for those troops to surround Jerusalem. That's all they were doing. You just wake me up when Jerusalem is surrounded by the Roman army. You just wake me up when I do that.
That's right. We out.
Second they saw that, okay, time to roll. Everybody else, y'all listen to that crazy guy who crucified, he dead, he gone. Y'all still listening to him? Y'all need to listen to us. Hey, Jerusalem surrounded with armies, LeVar, Antoine. Y'all know what that means, right?
Time to go.
Yeah, let's go. It's time to go.
Time to go.
Holla. Y'all stay here
and
y'all stay and you do you. Y'all stay here and y'all do you. You do that. 20.8.6. 169 to 172.
You ready?
Get that, go ahead and read it, please.
All right. 169. Moreover, there came out of Egypt about this time to Jerusalem one that said he was a prophet, and advised a multitude of the common people to go along with him to the Mount of Olives, as it was called.
Go to the Mount of Olives, the same Mount of Olives that they tell you that Jesus was standing on in Jerusalem, because they knew that messianic prophecies surrounded the Mount of Olives.
Mount Olives.
The Jews knew that. You follow what I'm saying? And he said about this time to Jerusalem. Notice both of these guys have been Jerusalem. Because remember, all this is concerning Jerusalem. So when he said false Christ and false prophet shall rise, he meant in Jerusalem, sisters and brothers, or the near vicinity, right? He said he was a prophet and advised the multitude of the common people to go along with him to the Mount of Olives, as it was called. Go ahead.
Which lay over against the city, and at the distance of 5 furlongs. He said further that he would show them from hence how at his command the walls of Jerusalem would fall down. And he promised that he would procure them an entrance into the city through the walls when they were falling down.
So this guy thinks he's Joshua too. One guy thought he was Joshua with the River Jordan. Now this guy thinks he's Joshua with the wall of Jericho in Jerusalem.
That's right. That's what we're seeing right here. Yep.
You follow what I'm saying? But then the Messiah warned us that this would be going on leading up to the destruction of Jerusalem. Did he tell us that?
Yep, that's what he said.
So how come people try to make you think that Jesus was just some hack, some fraud who didn't know what he was talking about? And we seeing that's exactly what he said would happen. We're going to see other stuff he said would happen. Remember, we're only dealing with the stuff that's outside the Bible. I'm not going to show you a prophecy he gave in the New Testament and show you the New Testament fulfillment. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you in history. So you can see that this man is validated by unbiased, non-Christian history. Except later on, with one person we're going to read, but he lived long after the fact. He could see what happened. He just testified of what happened. He ain't testified of being in that period. Right? But go ahead and read.
171. Now when Felix was informed of these things, he ordered the soldiers to take their weapons and came against them with a great number of horsemen and footmen from Jerusalem and attacked the Egyptian and the people that were with him.
So there you go again, Felix, the same Felix you read about in the New Testament,
That's
came
right.
and attacked this false prophet because all these people are trying to rebel. Something the Messiah told them time and time again not to do.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see what happened to him. His story is even funnier.
All right. This is the same Felix that when Paul was on trial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it reads, right. It says he also slew 400 of them and took 200 alive. But the Egyptian himself escaped out of the fight, but did not appear anymore.
So his people got all. Oh, that's it. That's good. So all of his people got killed or whatever, and he got away. But he didn't come back no more. So he was proven to be false.
That's right.
The Messiah said, when these false prophets and false Christ jump up, don't go after them. Notice that the Messiah is giving us keen advice all the way up to the point of when this thing set out. He kept his people in line. He kept his people in check. He told you, submit yourself to the higher powers. If you believe him, then you won't follow anybody that's trying to go against the Roman government. Because the Messiah said, no, don't do that.
That's right.
He also said, don't follow anybody who's claiming to be a prophet. You follow what I'm saying? If you believe in the Messiah, you ain't going to do that. He had everybody taken care of, and his apostles spreading the word. They all knew. I'm going to show you that the apostles knew that 70 AD was going to be the end. They didn't know exactly 70 AD, but they knew that it was soon. It was right around the corner. They knew it was coming. And they even were telling people that believe in Jesus, don't worry about it. You ain't got nothing to worry about. You're going to be safe. And they were safe. But you want me to deny him. So I can fall for that same trap that them fools back then fell for. I ain't about to do it. You can do that by yourself. And then when this thing starts jumping off, you're going to be 70 AD, trapped behind the walls all over again.
Falling for false prophets, or false messiahs.
Falling for false prophets and false messiahs. That's what happened. A lot of folks who died in 70 AD, they were former believers. The Bible tells you in the New Testament that some people stopped believing.
Mm-hmm.
You follow what I'm saying? So they disappeared. But now, let's go back to the Bible. Let's go to Luke 21, Antoine.
All right.
See, people don't talk about this stuff. You're just going to ignore all of the stuff that's mentioned that he told you to do. You follow what I'm saying? And just trying to act like none of that actually took place. Like he didn't know what he was talking about. That was just a lucky guess.
And the funny thing too is just talk about just what how the Messiah was telling them, like when because he said many shall come in my name saying that I am Christ. This guy right here, this is one example. You look historically, there was all kind of people jumping up claiming they were Messiah. Come follow me and revolt.
Dude, we'll be out here all night.
We'll be all night. Yeah, and it's historically documented.
Yep.
Even after 70 AD, cats were still talking about something. Let's go get it.
Yep.
Even after they still kept doing it. So that I mean, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
They don't want to deal with none of that. That's a good point, bro. They do not want to deal with that history, do they?
Nope, they don't, because it vindicates the Messiah. You follow what I'm saying? That was the ultimate proof that he was who he said he was, because everybody didn't witness the resurrection. Only a handful of people witnessed the resurrection. They went and told everybody else about it, and they chose to believe or not believe it, right? But everybody who didn't witness the resurrection did hear the apostles warning them about the destruction of Jerusalem, which was going to come and what to do. And everybody who believed and escaped, they believe the resurrection too, because after all, these guys were right about how to escape, and they said they got it from the Messiah. Why would they be lying about seeing him resurrect? You follow what I'm saying? That's how it really works. But they ain't telling these non-messianics or these former messianics who turned non-messianic, they ain't telling these people about this stuff. They can't tell you how he knew this stuff was going to unfold exactly like this. All your Tanakh told you is that the Roman Empire was going to destroy Jerusalem again. That's all the Tanakh gives you. So show me from the Tanakh how all of these folks who followed somebody who you say is a false Messiah, and everybody in the first, don't y'all think that's a little odd that everybody who rejected Jesus died in 70 AD, but everybody who believed in this false Messiah got led to safety? What kind of crap is that? I don't want to worship that God you worshiping. He going to spare the wicked? What kind of God is that? Don't believe in the Messiah. You need to put him down. You need to go back to the drawing board, Josh. Yes, I do need to go back to the drawing board. Let me let you in on something, bro. I don't ever leave the drawing board. Because when you leave the drawing board, that means you're done. And I'm never done. I'm always learning.
Yeah, and another thing too, I find amazing about it too, bro. It's just how it goes even deeper into this. How it foretells things that are going to happen again, whether or not how it shows that belief is more than just saying that I believe in him. I believe that he existed and stuff. If you believe, you're going to do what he say. And these Christians, these people who follow him, believe him, they follow his instruction. Same way we're supposed to follow his instruction now. And if we follow his instruction now, we're going to skip all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? That ultimate stuff, you know what I'm saying? That ultimate torture that they went through 70 AD was terrible, and it just goes in deeper. Your belief it got to follow it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, more than just saying it, got to be, you got to have something behind it, following his instruction, and that's what these people did, and they escaped, and it's a beautiful thing. It's amazing, man. It's really amazing when you think about it.
And that's history, and it's proven in history. So you can't tell me that it was just a lucky coincidence that everybody, both Hebrew and non-Hebrew Christians who believed in this fake JC, as you like to call him, they got saved. But everybody who didn't, who rejected him, if he was false, shouldn't you be rewarded for rejecting a false Messiah and punished for accepting him?
I would.
Why did everybody who believed in him got spared and everybody who didn't got tortured? Tell me that. That's what I want to know. Don't you know that if everybody believed in Jesus Christ, it would have been a mass exodus in 70 AD and they would have got nobody.
That's right.
They would have got nobody. All you had to do was believe. You don't believe he's him? Okay, time will tell. This is what I'm going to tell you right here. And when Jesus told this, his apostles were telling everybody, look, y'all, Jerusalem is going to be surrounded by armies. When you see that, time to run. We ain't going to get surrounded by no armies, and if we do, we going to win. We going to beat them. But the Messiah said, I don't care about what your Messiah say. He wasn't the Messiah. He dead. He resurrected. He said, no, he's not. He's dead. Y'all lying. We going to say, we going to fight, we going to win. Then they flip the screen, you get led away in chains. What happened? Meanwhile, the Christians over somebody else chilling. Nothing happened to them. All because they believed in this man that you like to call JC.
Not only was they chilling, they spread the faith, and that's how we got the faith today. Because they escaped. Yep. That's how we got it.
Exactly. Because they escaped. Nobody wants to talk about that, though. Now, let's not talk about that. But above all else, sisters and brothers, you got to ask yourself this. If Jesus was not the Messiah, number one, how did he know everything was going to happen the way it happened? And number two, why is it that everybody who listened to him got saved and everybody who didn't died? Since when did the true prophets of God lead you to disaster and the false prophets lead you to safety? That's never been the way God worked. The true prophets always lead you to safety and the false prophets lead you to disaster. That's how it's always been. So how is the Messiah not the Messiah? Oh, well, he was just a prophet. No, because if he was just a prophet, then he wouldn't lie and say he's the Messiah either. Because a true prophet would not lie and say he's God's anointed one, or then he's not a true prophet. In other words, you can't be a true prophet and lie about being the Messiah. So don't hand me that. Well, maybe he's just a good prophet, but he wasn't the Messiah. Nope. If he was a prophet, then he claimed to be the Messiah, then he was that too. Which also means he was also the Son of God. Because he made that claim too. Which means he also actually did rise from the dead like he said he would. Which means he actually is your Lord and Savior like he said he is. Which means if you don't listen to him, you will go to hell. Just like he said everything else would happen. It went down just like that. So why in the world, when I see that everything this man said was going to happen, did happen, I'm just going to jump over one day and be like, nah, I can't get with JC no more. Okay, you must don't know your history. That's what that is.
No, they don't.
You know what I'm saying? You must don't know your history. But let's keep this thing going. Luke 21, 9 to 10? Yeah, 9 to 10. Go ahead and read.
Luke 21?
Mm-hmm.
Luke 21, verse 9. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified. For these things must first come to pass. But the end is not by and by.
The end is not yet. That's what that means. The end is not yet. And he's talking about the end of the nation of Israel as a nation. That's what he's talking about. Because 70 AD was the end of Israel as a nation. So the end is not yet. He said you're going to hear of wars and rumors of wars. They are. It ain't talking about our time, sisters and brothers. It's talking about them. Because they asked him about this stuff. This is all 70 AD stuff. No, we're not preterists. So don't call in and ask me that. So go ahead and read. Verse 10.
Verse 10. Then said he unto them, nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom.
So we're going to stop right here. 9 and 10, he said, you shall hear wars and commotions. All of this is prophecy, sisters and brothers. All of it. We got the false prophets, right?
Uh-huh.
He said that. You were going to see that. We got that. He said, you shall hear wars and rumors of wars, and nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Let's see if that happened in history. Let's go to the history of Tacitus. I got this. The Roman historian Tacitus. This is the histories 1 and 2. Wars and rumors of wars. Look what he recorded that happened in the 1st century, right? Leading up to 70 AD. Listen to this. The history on which I am entering is that of a period rich in disasters, terrible with battles, torn by civil struggles, horrible even in peace. 4 emperors, those are kings, emperors are kings, fell by the sword. There were 3 civil wars, more foreign wars, and often both at the same time. What did the Messiah say? But when you shall hear of wars and commotions, Be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Then said he unto them, nation shall rise against nation. When it's talking about emperors and stuff, emperors are over nations, sisters and brothers. You follow what I'm saying? And kingdom against kingdom. That's exactly what the Messiah said, and that's exactly what history validates. How is he not the Messiah? How did he know this? That's what I want to know. Somebody tell me, if he was the Messiah, how did he know this? You have no answer. Well, what about, no. Answer this first. Explain this first. I don't want to talk about nothing else unless somebody can tell me how he knew this stuff and yet could not be a true prophet. That's what I want to know. Well, he was a true prophet, Josh. He just wasn't the Messiah. No, because he claimed to be the Messiah, and a true prophet would not claim to be God's anointed one and still be a true prophet. So you can't split it up. He's either a true prophet and a true Messiah, or he's a false prophet and a false Messiah. It ain't no half and half. So how did he know? Right? But look what it said. It said, often at the same time, 3 civil wars. That's exactly what the Messiah said was going to happen. So when they were passing through, getting closer to 70 AD, they heard about all this stuff. Just like we today on the news, we hear about stuff. They heard about stuff back then, and they were just nodding their heads. He said that was going to happen. That's exactly what he said. Or that's exactly what we heard from the apostles concerning that he said that. Right? Let's go back. Come on, LeBar, read Luke 21. Matter of fact, Antoine, you read that. Let me have you read that.
Yeah.
Luke 21 and
Luke
verse
21.
11.
Verse 11. And great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines, and pestilence, and fearful sights, and great signs shall be from heaven. Shall there be?
And great signs shall there be from heaven. Now check this out right here. Because he's talking about Jerusalem. Keep in mind, all of this is talking about Jerusalem and the near area of Jerusalem. He said there's going to be famines and earthquakes. LeBar, let's go to Josephus again, Antiquity 20. 20.2.5. That's the crazy part about it. This is the part that Brother Josh don't get. All this stuff in history, all this stuff he said that was going to happen, happened. And the grand finale was the destruction of Jerusalem. And he promised his people that if you believe in me, you will escape. That's the promise he made them. And they believed, and they escaped. That's deep, dude. I mean, that took some faith. But he promised them that. And you want to make fun of me because he ain't came back yet? I don't care if he ain't came back yet. I know he was telling the truth about 70 AD. That's all I need to know. Why would he start lying now? Well, he said he coming back. Where he at? He never said when he was coming. If he told me he was coming tomorrow and he didn't show up, then that'd be different.
Yep.
Well, he said he was going to come back in a short time, and he's supposed to come see his... No. Y'all just don't understand. Y'all confusing
He said he was going
with the second coming.
Right. Said he ain't going to come quickly.
Right.
He lied and said he was going to come quickly.
Exactly. Y'all don't even understand what it means when the Messiah talk about coming quickly. Something his judgment will come upon you quickly. They don't even understand that. He was talking to the 7 churches in Asia, too, when he said some of that stuff, too. I will come and I will destroy you. I can show you in the Old Testament where I said God was going to do something quickly, and it took 30, 40 years. You follow what I'm saying? But they want to discriminate against the New Testament. Come on, y'all. But we're in Josephus again. Let me get that with you, LeBar. I want to follow along. Antiquity 20.2.5 in paragraph 51. Let's read about this famine in Jerusalem. And Josephus was not a Christian. So don't say this was written by some Christians. Nope. He was not a Christian. I don't want to hear that crap either.
Nope.
And neither was Tacitus. He wasn't a Christian either. 20.2.5. You there?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and read.
We at 51?
Paragraph 51, yes, sir.
All right. 51. Now our coming was of very great advantage to the people of Jerusalem, for whereas a famine did oppress them at that time, and many people died for want of what was necessary to procure food withal, Queen Helena sent some of her servants to Alexandria with money to buy a great quantity of corn, and others of them to Cyprus to bring a cargo of dried figs.
To bring it where? To Jerusalem. Why? Because there was a great famine in Jerusalem. Didn't the Messiah say there was going to be famine and pestilence? And, well, where the pestilence at? Use some common sense, sisters and brothers. When there is a great famine, that brings disease. That's why over in Ethiopia and stuff, we saw them folks hungry at. When they starving, when you can't nourish your body, you become more vulnerable to disease and sicknesses. Famine and pestilence go hand in hand. So, sisters and brothers, he said it was going to be a famine. All this, remember, all this concerning Jerusalem, because he's telling you to watch for this stuff. But he said famine and pestilence in diverse places. That just gives you Jerusalem. Let's see if we can get it outside of Jerusalem. Let's go again. We're going to go to another book of tactics. It's called the Annals of Imperial Rome. And this is book 12 and verse 43, right? Still talking about this famine and pestilence. Listen to this. Many prodigies occurred during the year. Ominous birds took their seat on the Capitol. Houses were overturned by repeated shocks of earthquake. Oh, there go that earthquake. Right? And as the panic spread, the weak were trampled underfoot in a trepidation of the crowd. A shortage of corn again, and the famine which resulted was construed as a supernatural warning. A supernatural warning of what? Supernatural means something dealing with the gods or God, the divine. See, people walking around and say, man, this book got something to do with a warning. Yes, I know what the warning was. The warning was 70 AD, Jerusalem. Even people back then, they knew there was an omen, something bad happening. People running around and saying, this ain't normal. What's all this going on? They knew. The Christians knew. And even in the famine, God made away with his Queen Helena. Because you'll be like, well, wouldn't that famine affect the Christians too? It did. That's why he made that happen. And you can read about that same famine in the book of Acts. And the Christians were taking care of each other during that time. And I'm pretty sure some Hebrews were doing the same thing. Non-Messianics, they were doing the same thing. But the point is, this is exactly what the Messiah said would be going on leading up to the destruction of Jerusalem. So how did he know if he was safe? Or better yet, if he didn't exist? How can somebody who didn't exist do this? That's a bigger miracle right there. That's what I want to know. Well, maybe it wasn't written by Jesus. Maybe it was written by somebody else. Why would somebody else write and pretend to be somebody else who he not and give true prophecy? What kind of prophet to do that? What kind of prophet would lie about his true identity? It was him, sisters and brothers. That's what he said. But don't nobody want to talk about that, though. Oh, that's wrong. That's wrong? This is exactly what he said what happened. Right? But don't nobody want to deal with that, though, right? Let's go back to Luke 21. I could even put everything in here. I'm going to try to get to as much as I can. Because I want to get through this. This is Luke 21. It's back to you, Antoine. And I like to read it out of Luke anyway because Luke was a historian. So he gives more of a historical type of feel to it when he talks about it. And there's a whole class I can do on the validity of Luke as a historian, where modern historians' jaws are still dropping at the exactness of what Luke is talking about. Do a whole class on that. There were people who used to ridicule the book of Luke. He don't know what he's talking about. He got that all wrong. And then they do more research and find out that Luke was right on point. And they were wrong. People don't know this stuff, man. Y'all give up too prematurely. A lot of y'all just rebels anyway. Y'all fall under them people who the Messiah talked about when he was talking about the parable of the sower. Little tribulation comes, right. You're done. You're done.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? A little persecution, you done. What happened to all of those people who didn't believe in Jesus Christ? What happened to them? I ain't even going to read it because y'all already know the story. Y'all know about every Hebrew Israelite listening tonight. know how many people died in 70 AD. That's like Hebrew Israelite 101. I ain't even got to read that. Y'all know what happened. Y'all know that. The Messianics especially know. I don't know how the non-Messianics even try to mesh that with denying Jesus. How you going to do that? Well, Daniel said Jerusalem going to be destroyed. Did you say when? If you say he did, then you going to interpret the Messiah landing in the first century. But if it wasn't Jesus, who the heck was it? Well, he wasn't referring to the first century. He just said Jerusalem going to be destroyed by the fourth beast, and we know that's wrong. Okay, well, how did the Messiah know it was going to happen that soon? He said in that generation. How did he know the generation was going to happen in? And how did he know everything that was going to be, every little detail surrounding leading up to the destruction? That the Tanakh don't give you all that. How did he know that? And how did he know the only sign to look for to get away? That's a big finale. That's what I'm going to show y'all. That's what I'm really looking forward to showing y'all. How did he know that? So this man doing all of this, and you feel like he wasn't the one. He wasn't the one. And he saved countless lives with his prophecies and teachings. He saved people from following false prophets that were stirring them up to be rebels. No Christian did that. Christians were law-abiding citizens. That's what you read in the New Testament. They don't teach them to be rebels. So you ain't have to worry about no Christian following no Thaddeus or Theudas or that Egyptian. They weren't about to do it. For two reasons. Number one, the Messiah said don't follow nobody who's a false prophet or a false Christ. And number two, you're trying to rebel. And he said don't do that either. He said render to Caesar that which is Caesar. So they didn't do that. His teaching saved them from that folly. Then he told them what to look for to escape. They believed and they escaped. But you telling me leave JC alone. Yeah, you go ahead and follow after the Egyptian. And it's funny how in 70 AD, or leading up to 70 AD, an Egyptian was one of the people who led people away. Kind of remind you how some of the Hebrews wanted in Egyptology, don't it? History really does repeat itself, doesn't it, y'all? And then make it so bad, the Egyptian escaped and all his followers got killed or enslaved. He just disappeared. That's usually how it goes. They don't jump ship. They don't leave you to die. You know he was giving these folks money and stuff. Y'all know that too, right? He was giving these people money and stuff too. False prophets don't deceive for free. Y'all know that, right? They gonna get paid. They gonna get paid, right? But we in Luke 21, right? 20 to 24. Go ahead and read that.
Go skip down to 20.
What I tell you to read that first?
First you told me. Well, I stopped at 12. So if you want, I'm gonna go down to 20.
Yeah, go to 20. Yeah, we only dealing with the ones that's not in the Bible. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Then read verse 20.
Because 12 is in the Bible in Acts. All right. Luke 21 and 20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
He told them, when you see Jerusalem, first century Jews, brothers, not future. When you see Jerusalem compassed, that means surrounded by armies, know that the destruction of it is near. He's giving you a sign. So that would have scared me to death if I was back there. Wait a minute. Jerusalem's going to be destroyed. We're going to see it? So what do? Read the next verse.
Verse 21. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them that which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in countries enter thereinto.
Now, he said, don't try to enter into Jerusalem. So my question is, how in the world can I flee from a city that's surrounded by armies? If I was back then, I would have been like, Jesus, I hear what you're saying, but if they got the place surrounded, how I'm going to get out? When you read in history how God miraculously made that possible, it should be no doubt that Jesus is the Messiah. Because he told them that was going to happen. He said you're going to see it, right? You can't deny him being the Messiah. It's crazy. We're going to show you, though. Go ahead and read.
Verse 22. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be a great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people.
and wrap upon this people talking about Israel, sisters and brothers. Y'all know what happened in 70 AD and 69 AD and 68 AD. Y'all know what happened.
Yep.
Y'all know how history says over 2 million Jews died. Some historians calculate even more. Y'all know what they were doing to the children and the women. Y'all know. How did the Messiah know it was going to go down like that, though? How did he know that that's when you run? He said, when you see Jerusalem compassed by armies, Matthew 24 calls it the abomination of desolation. Same thing. Stand in the holy place. That would be Jerusalem, specifically the temple. He said, flee. And if he said, let not them that are in the country enter therein too. Don't try to enter into any country. And your whole thing, this is supposed to be an exodus. He was telling people what to do, sisters and brothers. If anything right here should determine if Jesus Christ was truly the Messiah, it's this stuff he's saying right here. Because this stuff right here saves lives. That's how you know it is legitimate. I ain't going to argue about your understanding of Isaiah 53 or why Jesus didn't fulfill all the prophecies or if the resurrection actually happened or not. Forget all that. This right here is the proof if he was really the man. You follow what I'm saying? This is the proof. And if you tell me just because he was right about this, that don't mean he was a prophet, then tell me why God didn't raise up any prophets to help Israel escape then. Except for the ones that Jesus said, because Jesus said, I will send you prophets. He did say that.
Yep.
So I will send you apostles and prophets. He did say that. Tell me why not a single Christian perished. I'm pretty sure there was some Jews that got out of there too in 70 AD. I think I even remember reading that. Probably saw some Christians running and say, hey, what's hurt? But look what it says right here. When you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, right? Go ahead and read. Verse 24.
Verse 24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
That happened, sisters and brothers. That's what happened. Titus sacked Jerusalem. Yep. Y'all all know the history. How did Jesus know that it was going to happen in that generation? How did he know? And they went into captivity. So they're going to fall by the edge of the sword. In other words, they're going to be killing people. How did he know? But here's the funny thing. He said, when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, right? Run. Do me a favor, LeBron. Let's go back to Josephus. Because Jesus said, run. Let's see what the people were saying in his time. Let's go to War 6.5.2. Let me get there with you. Jesus said, run. Let's see what the false prophet tells them to do. If you read in Matthew 20, remember all this stuff is about the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple, especially the temple, right? So Jesus tells you the temple is going to be destroyed. So the last place you want to be is where? Y'all tell me, where's the last place you want to be?
In Jerusalem, at the temple.
At the temple, at Jerusalem, at the temple. That's the last place you want to be. Let's show you what these false prophets will tell the people. See, it's amazing. See, they don't know. War 6.5.2. First, we're going to read paragraph 281. Read that first. Read that.
All right. The Wars of the Jews, 6.5.2, paragraph 81. And now the Romans, judging that it was in vain to spare what was round about the holy house.
Round about the holy house? What's the holy house? Hold up, LeBron. What's the holy house?
The temple.
That's the temple. Okay. Let's make sure we on board. Go ahead and read.
Mm-hmm. All right. Burnt all those places, as also the remains of the cloisters and the gates, to accept it. Mm-hmm. The one on the east side and the other on the south. Both which, however, they burnt afterward.
So they destroyed the city and the temple, just like Jesus said they were going to do. Just like Daniel said they were going to do, but not in this much detail, right? But what was the problem? Because Jesus said when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, flee, and he also told you that the temple was going to be destroyed. So that's what they was coming to do, destroy Jerusalem and the temple. Skip down and read paragraph 285. Let's see what the problem was. Go ahead and read.
Paragraph 285. A false prophet was the occasion of these people's destruction.
Occasion means reason.
That's right.
So a false prophet, Jesus said, false Christ and false prophets shall rise and deceive many. Concerning the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple. We got to keep it in context. He said a false prophet. This is written by Josephus, a non-Christian. He's just recording history. He don't even know anything about Luke or any of this stuff like that. He wasn't a Christian. He just recorded what happened. He said a false prophet was the reason of these people's destruction. What was the reason? Read, LeVar.
Who had made a public proclamation in the city that very day that God commanded them and that they should receive miraculous signs of their deliverance.
That means delivered or being delivered from the Romans.
Mm-hmm.
A false prophet commanded them to get upon the temple. Jesus said the temple going to be destroyed. If Jesus was false, how come he ain't agreeing with the false prophets of that day saying, hey, go to the temple?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
He told them the temple going to be destroyed, and when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, because you're going to see the surrounding of the armies before they destroy the temple, because first they surround the city, then they come in and they destroy the temple. So when they saw Jerusalem surrounded by armies, the non-believers, what did they do? They listened to these false prophets and said, go to the temple. Jesus said, get away. The temple was the last place you wanted to be. That's the first thing he told them, we're going to get destroyed. He said, y'all, this beautiful temple ain't going to be left one stone upon another. When these things going to be? What's going to be the sign? False prophets, pestilence, famine, earthquake. We read it all in history. Mm-hmm. We read it all. I could even give you the signs in the sky. I'll get that if somebody want to see that. I'm trying to get through to what I want to get to because I want to get to some of these questions, right? But keep reading.
Let's see. Where was I?
Just start from that. God commanded them to get
286. I'm on 286.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, there was then a great number of false prophets born by the
great number. Hold on, a great. Didn't he say many shall come in my authority, saying Messiah or Christ, and deceive many?
That's what Messiah said.
There was a great number of false prophets. How did he know that, y'all? But LeVar, let's listen to them. Let's put JC down. He don't know what he's talking about. He's fake.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's listen to them. Forget a debate. I don't care about no debate. This is what I want. This is what I know validates him. I don't care. You can have Isaiah 53 misinterpreted. I can have Isaiah 53 interpreted, misinterpreted. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Let's see what the man said was going to happen, and let's see if it happened. And let's see if it saves people who believe in him. Let's just look at that. And then you got to explain to me at what point in history did God let the false prophets get the information that saves his people and the true prophets get the information that condemn them? That's what I want to know. Continue reading.
I'm going to read that again. Now, there was then a great number of false prophets born by the tyrants to impose upon the people, who denounced this to them, that they should wait for deliverance from God.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in order to keep them from deserting, and that they might be buoyed above fear and care by such hopes.
Now, wait a minute. Why did they tell them this? It said that they should wait for deliverance from God, and this was in order to keep them from deserting, which means leaving. So the Messiah said, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, leave. The false prophet said, when you see Jerusalem, stay. Who ended up giving the best advice? Well, Josephus already told us the false prophet was the occasion of the people's destruction.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it that everybody who listens to the Messiah got saved? But how did God do this, though? How did he do this miraculous deliverance? Let's go to War 2.19.7. How did he do this? And even after we read it, LeVar, we still ain't going to get no answer. It's going to be one of the rare occasions where Josh takes you somewhere to explain something that doesn't really explain anything. But at the same time, it explains it. Now let me run that by y'all again, because I know that was confusing. I confused myself. I'm taking y'all somewhere to explain something that doesn't really explain it, but at the same time it explains it. I know. It's gonna make sense when we go there. It's gonna make sense when we go there. War 2.19.7. Nobody to this day can figure out why this went down like this. 2.19.7, paragraph 550. I'm sorry, 540. 2.19.7, paragraph 540. Go ahead and read that.
540. It didn't happen that Cestius was not conscious either how the besieged despaired of success, nor how courageous the people were for him.
Wait, hold on. Stop 1 second. Stop 1 second, LeVar. Do me a favor. Go to the beginning of that chapter and read the title of that chapter. Because I want everybody to know the content of what we're reading. Go ahead. Just read the title.
The beginning of the title. Okay. It says what Cestius did against the Jews, and how upon his besieging Jerusalem, he retreated from the city without any occasion in the world, as also what severe calamities he underwent from the Jews in his retreat.
Now, that's the title of it. He was besieging Jerusalem. In other words, he was surrounding it, right?
Yep.
Now, go back and start over and read it again, 540. Now, watch what it tells you. Watch what it tells you.
540. It then happened that Cestius was not conscious either how the besieged despaired of success, nor how courageous the people were for him. And so he recalled his soldiers from the place, and by despairing of any expectation of taking it, without having received any disgrace, he retired from the city without any reason in the world.
Hold on. He did what, LeVar? What did he say he did?
He retired from the city without any reason.
So this guy had Jerusalem completely surrounded, right?
That's right.
Like the Messiah said, didn't it say he retired from the city, withdrew his soldiers, and Josephus said without any reason in the world. Nobody even knows why he did it. Oh, we know why he did it. So the Messiah could save the people that he said to look for their sign. Because you can't leave if it's surrounded by Jerusalem.
There you go, right
if
there.
They surrounded Jerusalem. They can't leave. So you thinking, how am I going to get out if it's surrounded? Lord, I'm going to make a way. So they surrounded it. The Christian was like, how are we going to get out? And then for no reason at all, this man just withdrew his soldiers. Why in the world would anybody do that? Because God put it on that man's spirit to let those Christians out. Anybody who believes in the Messiah.
He stirred them up.
Yep. Stirred up that spirit, just like you read he always do. Now, how did the Messiah know that was going to happen? What are the odds of him knowing that it was just going to be a momentary gap where this guy just let all his soldiers go? Because the Messiah called it. He had to let you look for the sign. First, I'm going to let this guy surround Jerusalem. That's your sign to leave. How are we going to leave, Lord? You'll see. And then the guy just withdraw. It says, for no reason in the world. Even Josephus don't know why he did it. But we know how he did it, don't we?
That's right.
Because the Messiah had to make a way for his people to get out. Now, let me show y'all something. We're going to go to a Bible dictionary. This is the Holman Bible Dictionary. We're going to look up the word Pella. Now, look at this. And you can look this up online anywhere, right? Look what it says. Pella, Holman Bible Dictionary, page 1088. Undeniable proof that he's the Messiah, sisters and brothers. This is history book. You can't explain to me why this man just withdrew from Jerusalem for no reason in the world. It don't make any sense. The man had the place around and then just whatever reason. It said without any disgrace. In other words, nobody made him retreat. Nobody embarrassed him. He just said, you know what, y'all, let's pack it up and go. His soldiers probably like, man, why did you pack up our way out here? You follow what I'm saying? But that's what happened. This is Pella. Look what it says. City just east of the Jordan River and southeast of the Sea of Galilee. it received a large part of the Jerusalem church, meaning Christians, when they fled there before the Roman destruction of the holy city in AD 66. They fled in AD 66. 3 or 4 years later, Rome was destroyed. Jerusalem was destroyed by Rome. Pella became an important link in the church structure from that time. The site was inhabited as early as 900 BC and is mentioned in the Egyptian execration texts and the Armada letters about 400 BC. Pella was destroyed shortly before the Israelite conquest and not rebuilt until 350 BC. Alexander the Great settled the city with Macedonians in the early years of the first century BC. It was destroyed again, but rebuilt and greatly enhanced by Pompey. So the Christians were safe when they went there. Right before, how did they get out though? God made a way. The Messiah fell. You see Jerusalem surrounded by armies. How in the world I'm going to get out of a place that's surrounded? Well, I'm going to make this army for no reason at all. I bet those Christians who witnessed this, because you know they had people watching, they went back and said, hey, y'all, the armies are leaving. Can you imagine the jubilation that was going on when that news hit back? The Messiah said it was going to happen, but he didn't tell us how we're going to get away. And then for no reason, hey, everybody, can you believe it? These people are leaving. Why? Was there a war? No, they just left. They did? Why? We don't know. But you know what? Time to go. No. This is no coincidence, sisters and brothers. But everybody else, I'll let y'all read that on y'all own. Everybody else who was caught, who stayed up in there, whoo-wee, I bet they were wishing they believed in the Messiah. Because you know the Christians were telling them, look, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, you need to leave. This was not a secret doctrine. Paul was preaching this to everybody. So you know when you stayed, you were kicking yourself. But let me show you something else. We're going to go to Eusebius, a church father. I got to read this one to y'all. This is amazing. This is called Church History. We're in Book 3, Chapter 5, right? Eusebius was a so-called church father. He lived in the 4th century, right? Listen to this. This is what he wrote in this book. But the people of the church in Jerusalem have been commanded by a revelation vouchsafed to approve men there before the war, right? To leave the city and dwell in a certain town of Perea called Pella. And when those that believe in Christ had come there from Jerusalem, then as if the royal city of the Jews and the whole land of Judea was entirely destitute of holy men, you know, the holy Christian men, the judgment of God at length overtook those who had committed such outrages against Christ and his apostles and totally destroyed that generation of impious men. In other words, all the folks that rejected Jesus. All the folks that reject, this is what the man record happened in history. That's history, sister, brother. But look what else it says. But the number of calamities which everywhere fell upon the nation at that time, the extreme misfortunes to which the inhabitants of Judea were especially subjected, the thousands of men as well as women and children that perished by the sword. Wait a minute, they shall fall by the edge of the sword. Sound familiar, y'all? Remember that, LeBron Antoine?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He said that perished by the sword, by famine, and by other forms of death innumerable. All these things, as well as the many great sieges which were carried on against the city of Judea, there was more than one siege, and the excessive sufferings endured by those that fled to Jerusalem itself. Remember, he said, don't go into Jerusalem either. Remember, we read that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. History vindicates my Messiah. Where is the history that vindicates yours?
You ain't got none.
You ain't got none. Look what it says right here. As to the city of perfect, is that suffering endured by those that fled to Jerusalem itself, as to a city of perfect safety, because they thought it was a safe place to be. And finally, the general course of the whole war, as well as its particular occurrences in detail, and how at last the abomination of desolation proclaimed by the prophets, Daniel 9:27, stood in the very temple of God, so celebrated of old, the temple which was now awaiting its total and final destruction by fire. All these things anyone that wishes may find accurately described in the history written by Josephus. And you want me to put down the New Testament. You want me to put down the Messiah when history tells you that everybody that believed him lived, and everybody who didn't died innumerable deaths and sufferings and destruction, just like you said. He said famines and all that stuff. This is undeniable proof. God made a way for his people. That's why I ain't caught up in all this. We need to flee America. God gonna do the same thing he did back then. They didn't have no idea how they were gonna get up out of there. He just said, when you see this. So when they saw that, God made a way. This is undeniable proof right here, sisters and brothers, that he is the Messiah. I'm not going to debate anything else. Show me how you knew this. Ain't enough to talk about, tell the truth, because it saved people. If he was the Messiah, where was your people at that he should have been raising up saving these people? Where your people at? That's what I want to know. And like I said, you know, the apostles, they were prophets saying this too, because Jesus said, I'm going to send you apostles and prophets. So it was prophets telling them these things too. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You said you're going to go to Pella. Let me show you. We only got 2 or 3 more. Let's go to 1 Thessalonians. Let me show you how the Christians knew that they were going to be all right, and that the Hebrews that rejected Jesus was not. So if Jesus said all of this stuff, Antoine and LeVar, if he said all of this stuff and said that if you don't believe me, you're going to suffer all of this stuff, and that's exactly what happened, then what does that mean is going to happen to you if you reject them like he said, and you're going to go get eternal damnation? I mean, he's right about that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, that's right too. I'm not going to start down. That man was on point on that. Okay, you want to know if I'm the man or not? I'll tell you this, that, and that. See if it happens. And it did.
Hey, Josh, that's just a quick thought. We trying to give it to them from a historical level because they can't receive it spiritually. You know, that manna from heaven that would prove and test to see if Israel would believe.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
They can't receive it on a spiritual level.
So we're going to give it to you on a secular, carnal, historical level. You can't deny history. Show me your guy who led the people to safety. Show me that. This is 1 Thessalonians 2, 14 to 16. Look what Paul says right here. Who time is it to read? I don't lost track.
Go ahead, Juan.
Go ahead and read.
First Thessalonians 2 and which verse?
14 to 16.
All right. 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 14. For ye, brethren, became followers of the churches of God which in Judea are in Christ Jesus. For ye also have suffered like things of your own countrymen, even as they have of the Jews.
Like I told y'all in that other class I did on the Sabbath about how the non-Messianics were persecuting the Messianics. This is what Paul is talking about right here. The same thing Eusebius said. That's why the destruction of Jerusalem came on them to avenge them of what they were doing to Jesus' apostles.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? God gonna get the people who is wrong. I ain't worried about it. He's gonna get the people who wrong, just like he did back then. Even Josephus, a non-Christian, knew that Jerusalem in 70 AD, they deserved that. Israel deserved that, but I didn't knew Israel deserved that if I even picked up Josephus. Because they crucified Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
But all the ones that repented and started believing in him, they got spared too, because they started believing the gospel. Repent and believe the gospel. Mm-hmm. What you're reading here is the gospel. Go ahead and read.
Verse 15. Who both killed the Lord Jesus and their own prophets, and that persecuted us. And they please not God, and are contrary to all men.
Yes, they did, right? But watch what Paul tells them, though. He's telling the believers. Watch what he tells them. But don't worry about it, because check this out. Go ahead.
Forbidding us to speak to the Gentiles, that they might be saved, to fill up their sins always. For the wrath is come upon them to the uttermost. That
wrath he's talking about, sisters and brothers, is not talking about the second coming. It's not talking about the lake of fire. It's talking about 70 AD. He said the wrath is come upon them to the utmost. I mean, at last. It's about to happen. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
They knew it was coming, sisters and brothers. Paul knew it was coming. Everybody's talking about them. He's singling out them. He's talking about Hebrews. He ain't talking about the world.
Right.
He's letting them know. He said the wrath is coming upon them at last. They've been persecuting us. They've been doing all this to us, but don't worry about it. God's going to get them. Well, what about this wrath? What about us, Paul? What's going to happen to us? Turn back to chapter 1 and start reading at verse 7. Antoine, keep it moving. You still got it. Turn back and read verse 7.
1 Thessalonians 1 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 7. So that ye were examples to all them that believe in Macedonia and Achaia.
Mm-hmm.
For from you sounded out the word of the Lord, not only in Macedonia and Achaia, but also in every place your faith to Godward is spread abroad, so that we need not speak anything.
Mm-hmm.
For they themselves show of us what manner of entering in had unto you, and how ye turned to God from idols to serve the living and true God.
You tell the Thessalonians
and to wait for his
from idols to serve the living and true God, right? Same book.
Mm-hmm.
You talk to the same people. We just turned back one chapter, right? But watch what he says about them, verse 10. Read it again.
And to wait for his Son from heaven, whom he raised from the dead, even Jesus, which deliver us from the wrath to come.
Which deliver us from the wrath to come. Again, not talking about the second coming. Not talking about the lake of fire. Talking about 70 AD. He has delivered us from the wrath to come. That God's impending wrath upon that country. You follow what I'm saying? Uh-oh. Can y'all still there? I can't hear anything.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
yes, sir. We're here.
Okay.
Here.
Make sure we get hung up. So he said he has delivered us from the wrath to come. The Christians knew they were going to be okay. They were preaching that doctrine of deliverance. Paul, the apostles, they preached that all around. Remember, we read in Eusebius, and you can also read in Josephus, because Eusebius is letting you know he was using Josephus as a source. They didn't just get Jews in Jerusalem. They got Jews coming to keep the feast days too. And they had proselytes with them too. Meanwhile, all the Christians got away. They all escaped. Eusebius verified, Bible dictionary, you can read it all over. It's all over the internet. Tell them. They escaped. They saw that opening. Josephus couldn't even tell you why that man just pulled back his troops. I know why he did it, because God promised them through his son that they were going to get out of Jerusalem alive and safe if they listen to him. Mm-hmm. So as you can see, sisters and brothers, we have shown you that 70 AD is undeniable proof that Jesus was the Messiah. See, we don't have to sit around and keep going back and forth, even though I can show you all of these prophecies or scriptures that the Christians interpret as messianic were interpreted as Hebrew Israelites to be messianic first. So don't come on here, they translate that into the King James. The Dead Sea Scrolls were written by Christians. You follow what I'm saying? No, they were not written by Christians. You know what I'm saying? That prophet was talking about Joshua. I can show you where there were rabbis that said it was Jeremiah, Elijah, Joshua, and some said it was the Messiah. Mm-hmm. They interpreted it as messianic. I said they interpreted Isaiah 53 as messianic, Isaiah 61 as messianic, Psalm 22 as messianic. Zechariah, was that 11, 12 with the donkey? Messianic. Mm-hmm. But they couldn't understand how you can have a suffering Messiah and a victorious Messiah. So they came up with stuff like conditional prophecies. He'll do one or the other based on the condition of Israel. Or they came up with, let's split them into two personas. Mm-hmm. Messiah ben David and Messiah ben Joseph. Ben Joseph comes first, then Ben David comes second. Ben Joseph basically comes and does everything that the New Testament says Jesus already did, and Ben David comes and do everything that the New Testament says he's gonna do. Notice that these problems exist regardless of what view you choose. And so what they've done today, they just tried to eliminate the suffering Messiah altogether. So now they're trying to say that's a Christian interpretation. No, it ain't no Christian interpretation. The first Christians were Hebrew Israelites.
Yep.
And they interpreted those passages to be messianic. The only question was, who is the Messiah? But it was never a question of, is this a messianic passage or not? You follow what I'm saying? It wasn't a new invention by Christians. There's going to always be some group of people that don't want to believe it's messianic at all times in history, but it was never a time where the Christians jumped up and they exclusively, from what I've read, said, okay, we're going to make this messianic. I ain't talking about no Christians today. I'm talking about back then. So, sisters and brothers, we have shown you the undeniable proof. And I want to see somebody call in and show me, or explain to me, how the Messiah knew all of this in great detail if he was not the one. See you next time. So how you open up the phone? Yes, sir.
All right, now this is your time. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to call in. You know that number, 646-716-7320. And shout out to those people that's been standing by. I see you guys been standing by waiting patiently. We're going to go in order and take some of your questions. For the new listeners out there, when you call in, please, there's no foul language. Keep it clean, keep it professional. There's no foul language. You have people listening with their children. So, again, keep it clean. All right, if you're listening on Skype, you have to press number 1. You have to press number 1 if you want to chime in. I see we have a lot of Skype callers as well. Probably the international listeners out there. Just press number 1 if you want to chime in. But let's go to the first caller. Let's go to 314-680. You're live in air.
What's going on? Peace, Sal. Peace to the ABT family. This G Constant, LaRon Campbell.
Yeah, what's up,
brother? What's going on?
What's on, bro?
Peace. I just want to say, man, good class, man, and like I say, it's evident, man, that the Messiah, you know what I'm saying, brought forth the prophetic word and it came to pass. So, man, I don't really know what these brothers on, you know what I'm saying, and like y'all said, I wanted to bring out something, you know, after that they make these claims about the New Testament, you know what I'm saying, then they realize that the same basis is our premises on the Old Testament. Eventually
right.
What they do is they just leave it alone. And, you know, I told Charlotte that, and then what's so funny is because I told them in the group, I said, watch this, brother. I said, I'm looking at them. I said, all these brothers that start dealing with this, saying the Messiah is not real. A lot of these brothers, they really emotional, man. Like, if you just did a class on the class on the sower alone, it'd explain all of them. Like, it'd definitely explain them and their situation and what caused them to stumble back. And one of the reasons why you know, we see this going on is because we got people that's in the forefront that claim to be the head of Israel, and they raising a generation of non-Messianic followers. And that's what's taking place, man. And that's why I was telling them, brothers, there's got to be some in-house beef going on because, you know, unless someone stand up and put this thing out there and continue to beat it down, there's going to be a lot of non-Messianic followers because of the leaders that are teaching this stuff, you know what I'm saying, or the so-called leaders that's supposed to be in the house of consciousness or whatever the case may be. So I'm glad that y'all brought out the information that y'all brought out tonight, man, because like I say, after they leave the biblical, the New Testament, then they say they just Old Testament based. Then after that is they on some other stuff. They on some philosophy mess. So good class tonight, and appreciate you, brother.
Praise God. Praise God.
I appreciate that call. Let's go to the next caller. Again, I want to thank those people out there that's actually sharing it, the link on their pages. I see a lot of people sharing it all over social media. I appreciate you guys for sharing Debate Talk for You. Let's go to the next caller, though. Let's go to 678-544. You're live in air.
Hey, shalom. It's Sportsman. Shalom to your brothers. Yeah, I wanted to say that was a good class, and it's great that, you know, then you have differences on other issues, but when you write, you write. And I'm going to back you. You know, and I just wanted to say this, add this to you. When you go to Luke 24:44, to tell you that the Messiah spoke about 70 A.D. in the mouth of the prophets as well. It says, these are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you. So you spoke through the prophets too. Because when you read Deuteronomy 28, it tells you right here, right. It talked about 70 A.D. Moses spoke about that as well. So a lot of these cats don't even know what they're talking about if they don't believe in the Messiah, because he spoke through the mouth of the prophets. Okay? But that was a good class, man, and keep up the good work, brother.
Praise God. Praise God. Appreciate you, bro.
And let me just comment on that too, because he's absolutely right. Because, and I can show you in another lesson that the breakdown in Luke 21 and Matthew 24, if you pay close attention to it, it reads like Deuteronomy 28. You follow what I'm saying? If you really look at it, it reads like it. You know?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go to the next caller, and the next caller is actually caller number 3. So caller number 3, you're going to send me an email at debatetalkforyou@gmail.com. That's debatetalk4U@gmail.com, and you'll receive your free video called The Bible versus Egyptology, produced by Brother Josh from Absolute Bible Truth. Let's go to caller number 3. Let's go to 443-377. You're live on air.
Hey, Shalom, sir. What's going on, man? Shalom, Brother Josh.
Shalom, brother.
Hey, Sal, real quick, man. I was calling number 5. William Bell was on the air, man. I didn't get my CD, so I don't know if it's mine to be or what about Brother Josh DVD.
Send me an email. Send me an email, brother. Send me an email.
I hit your inbox on Facebook like right after the show. So that was the last call. And I
okay. I'm going to check it out.
So hopefully you ain't trying to get over on me on his brother Josh.
Nah, man, you got it, bro. You got both of them. Man. You got both of them.
All right. I was hoping it was me too. I know I started getting hot. I'm like, yeah, I hope that's me. But look, real quick though, right, Brother Josh. I've been listening to you for a while, man. Real quick, what I got to say about this whole messianic versus non-messianic thing, like, how can you believe in the Bible and not believe in its entirety? You know what I'm saying? Like, that right there, it really makes no sense. Like, how can a brother say, you know, I believe in the Old Testament when, like the last caller said, the prophets in the Old Testament spoke about the coming Messiah. So, if, like you were saying earlier, like, if Christ either was or he wasn't, you either call him a liar or you believe in him. Like, how can you not believe in its entirety? But my question is, for Christ's return now, what do we look for? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, what do we look for? Like a specific thing you look for?
You're kind of breaking up.
I can't hear him.
Say it again. 443. 443-377. Yeah, it's called to actually just drop, man. It's called this drop.
I heard his question, though. I hope he can still hear. I heard his question. He was like, what do we look for, right? The book of Revelation gives, and by the way, while I got it on my mind, I know you had this preterist on your show, Sal. You know, I got to come on here and clean up behind him, too. So, just let you know, got to go ahead and get him. You know what I'm saying? That just made me think of that. But anyway, the things you're going to look for is the stuff that happened in Revelations, like, in other words, like the combining of the nations, you know what I'm saying, to a one world government. Of course, wickedness increasing more than anything. You follow what I'm saying? And, you know, like this whole thing with this, like America, like passing this gay agenda and all that, that don't necessarily mean we're in the end times per se. Notice I put that per se on it. But they're showing you what direction we're going in. A good indication that God's wrath, because the Messiah's coming, it ain't nothing but God's wrath. Y'all know that, right? A good indication of God's wrath coming is always when man begins to lean toward the pinnacle of wickedness. So you just look for that, and then you know you're getting close to it. That's why Jerusalem was destroyed in 70 A.D. When Jesus came, what people don't understand is like he was like Israel's last chance. That's what people don't get. He was like your last shot to get this thing right, and they still like no. And we always, and ever since 70 A.D., Israel has been in captivity all over, like as a nation. Israel ain't ever came back since then. True Israel. You know what I'm saying? So they let you know that was the final straw. And they put the Messiah on the cross, you know, but the Messiah and God, in their mercy, still spared the one. I mean, they crucified him, and Jesus still forgave them through the apostles' preaching when they repented. And these people were saved. So that's what you're looking for, brother.
Incredible.
Incredible
mercy right there.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you back on, brother. You back on. 443. You back on. Go ahead.
All right. Hey, I apologize for that. I dropped the call. I'm out here driving trucks in Nebraska, man. You know, it's terrible service. But my last question was, I get into it a lot with these so-called black atheists or whatever. What historical proof could I give them, that Jesus exists? Because I remember I was listening to one debate. You said, like, really don't even go at it with people that really don't believe in the word. But, I get a lot of times people trying to attack me for what I believe, but they never want to tell me what they believe, or, you know what I'm saying? It's always attacking the word. They never want to tell me what they believe or what their views. They always just saying the Bible's a fairy tale. So what historical proof could I give them for that Jesus literally walked the face of the earth? Because I remember one time I pulled up, I said, if Christ didn't exist, then what years? And I started getting all these different answers. I'm like, but did he exist or not? So what historical proof can I give somebody that Christ actually literally walked the face of the earth?
Well, you got people who testified of him in the first, second, and third century. You follow what I'm saying? You got Pliny the Younger. You have Josephus. You got Tacitus. In fact, Eusebius. You just read about him. And like I said, I plan on doing a whole class on that. Like I said, these black atheists that you're talking to, they're ignorant. Because even the top scholar atheists now are starting, as a matter of fact, a majority of them believe that Jesus exists. They just believe he's just a regular man, wasn't nothing special about him. That's not even really debated in most atheist courts anymore, whether the man existed or not. You know what I'm saying? Because he's too validated by history to be a fairy tale.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying? He falls right in the middle of contemporary history. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't, like, you look like these Egyptian gods and stuff, people don't put them in contemporary history, or the Roman gods as actual people in contemporary history. But Jesus always shows up in contemporary history as an actual person. In fact, here's a little fun fact for you. Nobody really debated the existence of Jesus Christ until, like, nearly 1,000 years after he existed, bro. It was never really debated. Yeah. You can look that up.
Yep. That ain't close.
Hey, real quick,
his references.
Sorry.
No, I'm saying the references. I was just gonna add that the references of Christ himself exist and rival some of the most talked about known people today. People talk about Julius Caesar all the time. Well, Christ's references is just as much as he was. All these great philosophers that lived way back when Nostradamus, all these people, Christ is referenced and talked about more in history and more historically validated than all these people. But in history, he really is, in all these different sources and throughout history. So it varies. Yep, it's never debate. Yep.
It was never
real quick. Real quick, what can I get? What's it called? Josephus or Josephus? What can I get that? I don't like
Amazon.com. Amazon.com. The complete work.
Or you can go to a Christian bookstore. You go to any book, like a Christian bookstore. They all have Josephus. And matter of fact, I bought like 4 or 5 copies and sent it out to some of my brothers at ABT. You can find them all at a Christian bookstore. I know that's where I got all my. I ain't never even go online for Josephus. You go to a store and get it.
All right, man.
And
I appreciate that, man. Shalom, brother Josh, brother Antoine, brother LeBron, man. Hey, Sal, you better not be trying to get over on me either, man.
You be careful on that. Hey, you better be careful on that road, man.
Hey, man, I'm out here. I'm trying to hold it down, man. I need that truth, though, but I'm out here trying to hold it down, man. Shalom to y'all, brothers, man.
No doubt, bro.
Do me a favor, send me an email, man, now, brother. DebateTalkU@gmail.com.
I'm
got you.
I'm ready to hit your inbox right now, sir.
I appreciate you, man. Definitely.
All right, man.
All right. Once again, we're going to take some more callers right now. We're going to take some more callers to Debate Talk for You. You know that number, 646-716-7320. And by the way, the show is archived. For the new listeners out there, it's archived. If you missed any part of the show, you know it's going back. Go to www.blogtalkradio.com/Debate Talk for You. And Brother Josh, for those people that missed the beginning of the show, just let people know about your classes and, your website, stuff like that before we continue. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. We have class every week, like, depending on what time of the year it is, like when the Sabbath, like when it gets darker later, we meet later. Right now we're meeting at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're on Blog Talk Radio, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The call-in number is 646-716-82, 849. I can't believe I have a brain fart right now. 646.
Yeah, 8249. Yeah.
Yeah, 8249. You know, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? We have it, and we're on YouTube. Truth Teacher 3010. That's a YouTube channel. Got the online store. Let me tell y'all about this online store. You know what I'm saying? People are really benefiting from the wealth of information on there, and I sell stuff at a reasonably cheap price. Y'all should compare my stuff to some of the prices people selling their material for out there. I mean, it's like I went on somebody and they had like a DVD. That thing was like $30. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing on my store near that. You feel me? And you know, my online store got we touch on all kinds of topics. One particular topic, the Isaiah 53 controversy. You know, Jesus versus Israel. Like, who's that talking about? If you're really interested in something like that, you need to check that out. The Bible versus Egyptology, Volume 3. That's actually what Sal just gave out. There's actually a Debate Talk for You and ABC joint venture, because I first did that class on Debate Talk for You, and I edited it to give it visual aids, and all kinds of clips. If you haven't seen that yet, if you liked it when you heard it on Debate Talk for You, you really need to get your hands on the Bible versus Egyptology, Volume 3, the creation conflict in ancient Egypt. And like I told y'all when I called in before Zadok and Sha'Allah's debate, I'm working on another big project. I'm letting y'all know. I ain't even scared to put the title out there. It's titled, Is There a Secret Gay Agenda Among the House of Consciousness? Again, is there a secret gay agenda among the House of Consciousness? And, you know, this is for Sal Meta, this is for Sarah Sutin-Fetty, and this is for Brother Polite. And it's for Shaka Albos. So
Shaka Albos, can't forget him.
Yeah, so if they listening, you know, and they just wondering what it's going to talk about, they can call in. I ain't going to give them away all the goodies, but I'll let them get a brief understanding on what it's going to prove. And I can just tell y'all right now, it's going to prove that ancient Egypt was gangsta-licious gay. You know what I'm saying? For all y'all who watch the Boondocks, they were gangsta-licious gay. You know what I'm saying? But that's just that. You don't think that's solid.
We only have like 8 minutes on the air, so what that means, if you're listening on social media, if you're listening directly on Blog Talk Radio, you're going to have to call in before the time runs out. We're going to take some more calls from the people out there that's been listening to the show, and after that, we're going to get some final words from Brother Josh. Again, we're taking more callers from the people out there. Before the time runs out, make sure you call in. If you want to hear the rest of the show, we're going to go to the overtime part of the show. The number is 646-716-7320. If you already called in, press number 1 if you have any questions or comments. But let's go to the next person. Let's go to 757-580. You're live in air.
Hey, what's good, man? This is Kevin, a.k.a. Yahweh. What's going on, Brother Josh?
Hey, what's up, Kevin Yahweh?
Hey, doing good, man. Hey, look, it's always a pleasure, man, to hear you on Blog Talk, man. It's always a pleasure hearing you on Sal Showtime, man. It's just, you know, y'all bring it so heavy. I appreciate the scholarship. I appreciate how thorough you are with the scripture. It's like you leave nothing loose that can be debated, you know what I'm saying? But check this out, though. I can't wait to hear your parallel on the Deuteronomy 28 and those verses you were mentioning in Luke and Matthew. But check this out, though. Y'all were talking about how accurate Christ is. If you look at Luke 21 and verse 24, he says, "And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down by the Gentiles," that's with a capital G, "until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled." Now, isn't it amazing that even today in 2015, that land is still being trodden down by the Gentiles?
They're overran by people who are not Israel.
Right. And it's amazing how, okay, you got to consider this man said this in the 1st century CE, and it's still true today in 2015. Man, that's right. You got to be really bold to make the statements he make, and that's exactly right. Either they're going to believe that he is the Christ and telling the truth, because so far he is. But I don't want to take up too much time, man. Like I said, I appreciate you. Dwayne Barton, sometimes he's on here. I appreciate him. LaRon, I heard him earlier. I appreciate him. Both Mikaels, Edwards, you know. I appreciate you, brothers, man. Y'all really strengthening Israel. I love y'all, and keep up the good work.
Love you too, bro.
Praise God.
Wow, appreciate you for calling in, my brother. Appreciate that, man. All right, so we're going to go to the next caller, and this is caller number 5. Caller number 5. Going to get that free Seek Truth CD. Once again, send me an email at debatetalkforyou@gmail.com, and it's yours. So make sure you send me that email. Let's go to the next caller. This is caller number 5. Let's go to 646-399. You're live in air. 646-399.
Oh, my bad. I was on mute. I had my phone on mute. This is Felix, also known as Enoch.
Felix,
what's up? What's going on, bro?
Tranquilo, taking it wagwan. Yeah, man. I'm a witness. I'm a recipient of one of those. Antoine bought me my first Josephus, complete works of Josephus. I appreciate that, bro. Just to shout you out and let people know that you was being 100% with that claim. But yeah, this lesson was awesome. It was good. It was on point. The details were very sharp and concise and precise. And it's funny too that you mentioned about the conscious community, because Sarnetta had mentioned, and it's ironic now, because while a non-messianic named Zion Lex was addressing this same issue in the beginning of that, Sarnetta was like, "Oh, to all you blog talk radio shows throwing shots at Sarnetta and Black News 102." So I don't know if he's referring exactly to DT4U, but I'm pretty sure they're hearing things. But also I wanted to add just about like how Daniel 9 goes into the 400, almost 500-year prophecy, 489, 490-year prophecy, landing us right in the century. The Dead Sea Scrolls was, a blessing, because not only is there's a fragment, a manuscript, it's 11Q13. That's the Melchizedek scroll that's talking about their interpretations of certain scriptures that they view as messianic. It even goes into the Psalms 22 and 16, like you mentioned. And then a Messiah scroll, the 4Q285 that I was reading on it earlier this year, and just it always come back full surface. How even their whole mission, their existence, the community's existence in and of itself, how they separated themselves from Israel in order to prepare the way for the Messiah. So they knew that time was coming. They kept the ritualistic baptizing or bathing in water every day, being pure. They were pretty pious, but they're still a historical testimony to what we believe, and it's like, it's not just blind belief. We're not like your average Sunday Christians who couldn't prove it. Like, we could really prove it and teach you something that you obviously didn't even know about the Old Testament, as far as Old Testament Hebrews go. But great lesson, awesome lesson. I'm gonna hit you up, Sal, for that CD. And that brother was funny earlier.
That brother telling Sal, man, you pay what you owe, Sal. Pay what you owe. You might, Sal, you might want to check under your bed before you go to bed tonight, brother. Just a little advice. I'm telling you, man. Just put it out there.
Definitely. Yeah, man, you're right about that. But yeah, let's go to the next caller, though. Oh, by the way, it's like 1 minute left, guys. We have 1 minute left. If you're listening on social media, you got to call in before the time runs out. Again, 7320. We're taking more questions from the people out there, so we appreciate you calling in. Let's go to the next caller, though. Let's go to, let's go to 201. 201-623. You're live in air.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah, indeed.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
You got to lower your speaker, though. Lower your speaker. Yeah, lower your speaker. I hear the echo.
All right, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm at the job. Now this is Shy, man. I just want to say, shout out to you, Josh, and not even just shout out to you, man. The truth is the truth. And you know what I'm saying, brothers and sisters, man, really gotta realize something, that prophecy right there that you just brought out was something that's so devastating to the non-messianic movement that it's gonna be hard for. As a matter of fact, it's gonna be no question. It's gonna be no answer that they can give to that. Second of all, I would like to say this. This is just some statements because I'm feeling some type of way, man. I lost a good brother to this nonsense, and I'm going to war with this now. It's so much that's going to be done in the next couple of weeks, destroying that Masoretic text, showing people the LXX, showing people how valid the Septuagint is, showing people the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Hey,
showing
that's
them
right. That's
took
right.
out certain things, and it's going to be so much coming their way. And I hope that they prepared, man, because I got some brothers that's not messianic. I love them to death. But I said I wasn't going to deal with this until it started hitting home, and it's hitting home. And so if it's hitting home, we're taking the foundation underneath of their feet. It don't matter if you can quote Sohar. It don't matter if you can quote the Mishnah. It don't matter if you can quote the Talmud. It don't matter. That stuff is going to get destroyed because we're going to earlier records than that. First of all,
that's right.
When you go into the Aramaic and the Daniel prophecy, the Aramaic knows the Hebrew term "son of man." It uses that in there. But for the specific passage that I'm talking about, when it's concerning the son of man coming to the Ancient of Days, that says the son of Enos. When you go back and y'all do y'all research on that, because everybody's Hebrews and they use Hebrew and they try to break down in the cause and it, nah. Go back to that Aramaic and see what the son of Enos means. That's the body he prepared for himself. That's why they said he brought them to him, the son, that one that looked like the son of Enos, the son, somebody that was put in the weakened flesh. Son of Adam is somebody that's from Adam. So if everybody want to get Hebrewed out and want to be some Hebrew scholars, then they better go and check that. And then you still got to break down the calculation. You still got to show that who is that? Because it's not Israel. Right. Israel didn't get cut off in 31 AD. That's impossible. If anybody want to say, how could you see the Messiah, chapter 53? See, that's David or that's Israel. No. It was no such thing as chapters and verses back then. I want somebody to go and read all the way to Isaiah 50, all the way up. You tell me who that's talking, because it's not Isaiah talking. This person said he spread the heavens and the earth.
You see that?
Oh.
Yeah.
No, he got cut off.
Yeah, he's still on. I don't know what happened, but he's still
on. Man.
He probably muted himself.
Yeah, he's at the job. He's at the job.
Yeah.
Way,
I got caught on the phone.
Yeah. Well, by the way, Josh.
Bro was going in.
Yeah, that was actually King Yeshaya, the brother I was letting you know about. He wanted to email you.
I was looking for his email. I didn't see it. I guess he just decided he'll just call in.
Yeah, hold on. 2-on-1. You still there, man. You still there, if anything. You still there, 2-on-1. Yeah, you're on the job, man. I understand.
Hey, yo, Sal, can I say something real quick?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this brother Lavar right here, man. I would like to say I listened to the round table today while I was at work. I downloaded the episode and I went to work and I was sitting and I considered some of the things that were being said. I just want to give a shout out specifically King Yeshaya, the brother that was on the round table, right? And Dwayne Botton. I've debated the brother in the past, and you know what I'm saying, but at the same time, that dude was dropping some jewels. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Brother Jason. He had his differences with ABT in the past, but we do not hold grudges. We love our brothers. Everybody, make no mistake about it. You know, you might have disagreements with brothers, but you got to give credit where credit is due. The brothers represented in the round table that particular night. ABT do not believe we are the only ones out here dropping some truth. So I just want to give a shout out to all them brothers. And even the non-Messianic brothers or whatever the case may be, because they were passionate about what they believed in. I don't agree with them. But the brothers that represented for the Messiah, I was proud of y'all. I just want to say that.
Yeah, man, That was definitely a powerful roundtable. And actually, a lot of people was, before the show happened, people were afraid to come on. People didn't want to come on the show, things of that nature. They were scared it was going to turn out to be something else. But came up a very professional. Came out a decent conversation. So I thank all the special guests that was on that panel. And you can always go to the website if you missed that show, Messianic versus or non-Messianic, which shall you choose. Check out that round table. But hold on, I'm trying to get 2-on-1 back on. 2-on-1, you stay there, man? 2-on-1? Yeah, man. I think I think something's going on. But all right, so we're gonna have to move on. Looking on the switchboard, nobody else is press number 1. Everybody else is listening right now. But again, if you have any questions or comments, this is your time. Just press number 1, and we can add you in the conversation. Okay, here we go. Let's see. 314-680. You're live on air.
What's going on? Peace. Once again, it's G Consciousness. What's going on? Hey, look, man, I'm in the group, right? I think it's Jesus or I think it's Sha'Allah's group. So the brothers in there, they say, he would prophesy about 70 AD because it was written after 70 AD, basically. So I thought they would call in, you know what I'm saying, but they didn't call in. Then nobody pressed the number 1. They said they was going to call in, whatever the case may be. Josh, man, can you bring the information out on that so you can help these brothers out a little bit because they
I can help you out, but here's the thing. It's easy to make the claim that it was written after 70 AD. And here's the thing, here's the irony of it. Did you know that there are atheists that make the same claim about the book of Daniel and the 4 beast prophecies? They make the same claim about that.
That's right. That's right.
You follow what I'm saying? Because it's so accurate, they don't believe it that somebody could call history like that. But if you do the research, them brothers, you got to understand. Who's this I'm talking to? Is this LaRon?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, you got to understand something.
Yeah, LaRon.
I've already brought this information out on Sal Show before, back when Sha'Allah was still Messianic. You follow what I'm saying? Now, whether he was listening that night, I can't say. But if Zadok, he can attest to it. Shoot, even Garfield Reed can attest to it. You follow what I'm saying? I think his last name Reed, ain't it? Sal Garfield Reed.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Even he can attest to it because he was asking people all night, and I showed a guy. I don't even remember who it was. I think it was Justin Martyr, maybe.
It was Ignatius of Antioch.
It was who?
Ignatius of Antioch.
Right. And I showed in the 1st century where he quoted the book of Luke in like 54 or something AD. Remember, Jerusalem would be destroyed nearly 20 years later. And he was quoting Luke, which means he had access to the Gospel of Luke, which I stayed in all night. That's why I stayed in Luke all night. And I can show that he quoted, and I also showed that same night he quoted Matthew, and he was quoting that stuff. This stuff was quoted in the 1st century as early as 54. Some scholars even say as early as 40, right? So it was not written after the fact. And even if it was written after the fact, explain the flight to Pella. Explain that.
Explain the Talmud. Explain the Talmud. They had to explain the Talmud just as well because it's in the Talmud talking about Jesus at that time, and that's given account and written up until that time.
Exactly. So even if it was written after the fact, okay, let's say it was written after the fact. Explain how the Christians survived and the Hebrews got destroyed. Writing something after the fact ain't gonna explain why it went down like that. You know what I'm saying? That's history. You can't deny that. Josephus said it. Eusebius said it. Them brothers, you gotta understand something, LaRon. At some point, you got to shake off the dust of your feet, bro, and leave them brothers alone.
Shake the dust.
Leave them alone, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most
just like they did back then. The Messiah, like, you don't want to hear it, fine. May your blood be upon your own head. That's what Paul said. Paul said, I'm clean. He shook his raiment. Him and Barnabas walked. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's how you got to be. I didn't do this class to convert them. I did this class to convict them. There's a difference. I don't try to convert. I try to convict. Because when you convict somebody, they say stupid stuff like, it was written after the fact. Okay, provide your evidence. It's easy to say that. Dude, do you know how much, Ron, you can be, you know how these brothers think? These brothers think they Peter Pan. You follow what I'm saying? You can be whatever you want to be in Never Neverland, bro. You can make whatever claim you want to make. But we in reality, bro. And we got books open. We got internet. If you say that it was written after 70 AD, if you make the claim, then the burden of proof is on you. That's the burden of proof. I ain't got to prove nothing. If you making the claim, you provide the proof. You follow what I'm saying? That's what you got to do. You know, but don't think you going to call in and all that stuff, because we had a brother, Garfield Reed. He was trying to make them same claims against Zadok, and I called in, and I showed him. He go to the book of Luke, 54 AD, bro. 54 AD. You know, and if he had a copy of it, they don't, and you know he didn't have the very first copy of it, because history tells you the Gospels were copied and circulated all around the church. So, you know, if he had a copy, that means somebody before him had a copy. You know what I'm saying? So don't tell me that crap, you know, it was written after the fact. People say the same thing about the book of Daniel, and you will fight them tooth and nail and say, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It's prophecy. So I don't want to hear no commentary from no hypocrite.
Exactly. Most definitely. Appreciate it, y'all.
Praise God.
Thanks for your call, Brother Lamont. Let's go to the next caller. Again, I see we have a lot of callers on the switchboard, man. I have a lot of callers out here, but I'm not going to bring you in unless you press number 1. So, again, if you have any questions or comments, you got to press number 1, and we'll bring you in the conversation. Let's go to 916-747. You're live on air.
Shalom, everybody. My name is Ashanti. How's everybody doing?
Ashanti, how you doing?
I'm good. Brother Josh, I just want to say good lesson, great lesson. I just want to point out a few things. I agree with you, first and foremost, that we're both dealing with matters of faith. Like you said, none of us living today have seen Moses face-to-face. We haven't seen Paul face-to-face, you know. So we're all dealing with matters of faith. If a person can believe that Moshe stuck a stick in the sea and the Father parted it, how cannot you believe other things in Scripture? Second thing, Brother Josh, I think we miss a big prophecy. One of the big prophecies is that in Hosea chapter 2, where he's telling Hosea to go marry a harlot and have some kids with her, then divorce her, but try to go back with her. And the father said, you know what, this is what I'm going to do as well, and I'm going to have you be my wife forever. Well, how can the father take back a divorced first wife? How can he do that without breaking his own Torah, his own instruction in Deuteronomy 24? So the father had to be manifested in flesh, because flesh atones and it covers and it binds. There's, when you look at the word for covenant, if you go back and look at the Hebrew word for covenant, it has something to do with cutting, an agreement, and blood. So, great lesson. And another thing, I do want to say this. I studied the Hebrew language. Okay, I do encourage it. However, that's not the end all be all. If you have knowledge and no spirit, no love, you have to couple that all together. You know what I mean? And I just want to point this out, just what you said, and I'm confirming, because I do read Talmud and I do read Mishnah and I do read a little bit of history. This whole thing where the Yahudim claim to not believe in messianic prophecies, and they're trying to discredit the scriptures from prophesying Messiah. But like you said, that didn't come until 1,000 years later by Rashi. Rashi made it the official authority because he was succumbing to political pressures. That's all that is. So, but
those prophecies were originally messianic. That's what a lot of people
exactly.
That's the lie they're trying to make you think. They're trying to make you think Christianity put a messianic spin on these prophecies when they interpret it, and history will show you that every messianic prophecy that we make a messianic prophecy, it was validated to be so by Israel first.
Right.
They didn't make that stuff up. They didn't make it. Some like when Sha'Allah gave his opening statement, like the King James was translated by Christians, and they made Psalms 22 and 16 be about the Messiah. It ain't got nothing to do with the Messiah. I can show you as late as the 10th century that rabbis were saying that Psalm 22 is messianic. And like the brother pointed out, Felix in the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Essenes, the Quran community, was looking at this stuff as messianic. So that was a false statement. But if you don't humble yourself and go on the record and say, I misspoke when I said that, I was taught that, because I definitely didn't research it, because I would have found the truth if I researched it. No, he's going to be prideful and pretend like he ain't did nothing wrong and keep doing. And that's the problem I have with people, Ashanti. I have a problem with people who don't like to own up when they're in error. You follow what I'm saying? That pride is going to land a lot of people in the lake of fire. A lot of folks going to be burning because of pride.
Right. So I agree with you. The points you made, I know there's some solidity to them because I've read them. So I just want to say, great lesson. Shalom, shalom. Y'all bless.
Praise God. Shalom, sister. Hallelujah.
All right, guys, we're in the overtime part of the show. I see we have a lot of people on Skype. We have thousands of listeners on social media checking out the show. If you want to chime in, just press number 1, and I'll add you in. But other than that, we're going to get some final statements from my brother Josh. Again, the show is archived. You can always go back and go check it out. 70 AD, undeniable proof Jesus Christ is the Messiah. So I don't see anybody else pressing number 1, my brother. Okay, hold up. All right, they're pressing number 1 now. I got to go to the people. Let's go. Let's see. Let's go to 240-731. You're live on air.
What's up, Brother Sal? What's up, ABT family?
What's that?
Brother KC, student at ABT.
Brother
Hey,
KC, my man.
What's going on? Hey, I'm just calling to support my brothers, my teachers, man. Just calling in with support as you. I mean, you brothers brought a concise, very clear class, and, I don't have really much to say. I just want to, see if one of the Messianics will call in and give their side, see if they could refute what you brought forth, but I doubt if that's going to happen. But great class, great class. I thought I was on the Sabbath day right now. But once again, it's a great class. Hey, man, you brothers keep bringing this truth, man. This is Brother K getting about.
Praise God.
Praise God,
and I'm glad
KC.
I'm glad he made the statement he made about calling in, and I'm glad LaRon Campbell called in too, because one thing he said, the claim they're making, number one, they said they were going to call in, which they didn't. And if the best they can come up with on any Facebook group is that the stuff in prophecy was written after 70 AD, then that's weak. You feel me? That's just weak, because anybody who don't believe Bible prophecy in the New or the Old Testament can make that same claim, and it has been made.
It has been made. That's right. That's right.
Anybody who is listening tonight, messianic or non-messianic, go online and see what atheists say about Daniel, the book of Daniel, and the 4 beasts. They all claim it was written after the fact, and that's why it's so accurate. So don't come at me with that claim, because if I say the same thing about the book of Daniel, what are you going to do? You're going to argue. And here's the thing, too. Here's the thing. Can you prove that the book of Daniel actually predates the claim that these people making against it? Because I can prove that the New Testament existed and was finished in the 1st century, except for like 11 verses. You feel me? I can show that. I can show that they were quoting Luke as early as 54, 50, and some see even 40 AD. I can show that. So you can't say that it was written after the fact. So what happens if I show it? Here's the thing I want LaRon Campbell to ask himself. What happens after you show them that it predates 70 AD? Or they're going to be like, oh, I guess we believe now. No, they're going to find something else to kick again. That's all they're going to do.
Right,
don't waste your time on no clown. Don't ask me to show you something, and then when I show you exactly what you asked for, you still don't believe. Don't do that. That's why I was so upset at Garfield Reed that day, and I ain't just trying to put him on blast, because I actually love that brother. He's a cool brother, but I just think that, he really needs to take a long look at the way he come out. That's all I can say, because I think outside of the debate and all that stuff, me and him will probably be cool. You feel me? Because he just seems like you're a cool brother. Sometimes we get into this line then, and we think we just want to kill each other. That's just the heat of the moment. But outside of that, I think a lot of brothers would actually get along as friends. I really do. But the reason why I'm putting his name out there is because he kept asking for something all night as if that would just convince him and he would become a believer. And then when he finally got it, it was like, well, okay. And, you know, don't ask for rain. Then when you get the rain, you be like, never mind. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's why I was trying to get LeBron Campbell to understand. Them brothers make claims like that, and if you prove it, they ain't gonna be like, you know what? If it happened before 70 AD, and that means it was a true prophecy, and that's why LeBron, listen to what they're saying. It's so concrete that that's the only thing they can say. They're actually admitting that they can't dispute it. That's the only way out. It had to be written later. Ain't nobody saying, well, the prophecy's all that don't line up. You follow what I'm saying? They're just saying
and
it was written later.
And like you were saying earlier, like Josh was saying earlier, that same argument can be made like something is this concrete and it's accurate as the prophecy concerning the judgment of Jerusalem in the first century. You could go back, like Josh was saying earlier, and this is historically. I mean, it's so crazy how accurate Daniel, when he talks about the world powers, when he talks about these world empires, how accurate it was when he talked about the Grecian Empire to come. When he talks about the Egyptian, Medo-Persian, the Grecian Empire to come, and the Roman Empire to come. And when it talks about those things, how accurate it is, it's incredible because like you have so many people want to say, oh well, it's so easy to say, oh well, that was after. He said that after. Well, you can make the same exact argument about that, but they don't want to throw that away because that's what they hold on to. But if you're gonna be logical and you're gonna be reasonable, well, if you're gonna throw this away, well, you gotta throw that away too because people say the same thing about that, even though that's not true. You can show that this was actually written before these people even came into power, blah blah blah, and same thing. Well, we can go show like Josh did on Garfield. No, this was written and stated well before this happened, and blah blah blah. This is well accurate. You can always make the same argument, and LeBron, you agreed earlier tonight. You say, you know what? The same any argument cats make against the New Testament, your same argument can be made against the Old every single time. And the reason, and one of the main reasons being is, and like Josh said earlier, you can do a whole class on it, and we've seen this about a billion times. Is that anytime somebody came at the Messiah, where did he go to?
The scriptures.
He went right back to the Old. He went right back to the. He went right back to the scriptures every single time. Right. Say, oh, I'm gonna go back to here. I'm gonna go back to here every single time. Anything you say against me, I'm gonna take you right back here. You know what I'm saying? So any argument you can make against him, you can make the same argument against the Old Testament. There's nothing there's nowhere for you to go. And the prophecies that he made were just unbelievable. It's the accuracy, the historical accuracies. One thing I just want to throw this out there for the audience too, and I did this a long time ago, and this is one of the first things I learned when I left not the first church I came. I grew up in the AME church, African Methodist Episcopal Sunday Church. I grew up in it, and when I left there, I went to another church. As right when I graduated from college, it was Israelite camp or whatever, and it talked about Matthew 24 and stuff like that. It talked about things being fulfilled or whatnot, and talked about certain prophecies, and like when I looked at them.
Hello, still there, Antoine?
Yeah, Antoine, you there?
Hello. You mute yourself? Y'all gotta be careful. They be muting themselves sometimes. You still on the switchboard, right?
It's on the switchboard. Yeah, Antoine. 478.
He did that one time when he was on the phone with us. I think he might have a problem with his phone, Sal. One day we were just on three-way and he did that.
Yeah, he probably got a short that on the phone. We got somebody else pressing number one, though. Let's go to the next person. Let's go to 315-530. You're live in air.
Hey, shalom, y'all. This is Brother Ben Trey.
Hey, Ben Trey.
Shalom, Ben Trey.
Son of Trey.
It's been a minute, Ben Trey. What's up?
I just want to say that was a real great class. Wow, just a great class. Great class. And I just got a quick comment. I know a lot of people that don't believe in, Christ or the New Testament. They say like, the pagan Christians wrote the New Testament, but at the same time, pagan Christians don't even follow the New Testament. The New Testament promotes the Sabbath, but Christians nowadays worship on Sunday. The New Testament promote the feast days. Christians don't do feast days. What else? New Testament promotes the law. Right. And Christians don't do that. New Testament promotes how Christ went into Egypt, probably being a dark skin color, but you see nowadays Christians worship, like a Caucasian colored Christ.
Mm-hmm.
The New Testament just promotes a lot of things that Christians don't even follow, So I just want people to, think about that too. But great class and shalom, y'all.
Shalom, man. Sorry.
I appreciate
and
that.
Just to echo off that thought that Antoine was talking about, how people make these same claims and stuff, right? And I can't thank LaRon Campbell enough, because number one, he put some people on blast, but he realized or not, because they said they were gonna press 1. But if all you gonna call in and say is that you believe it was written after the fact, if that's all you got, then that's pretty pathetic. Especially coming up against somebody who everybody on Debate Talk some people who everybody on Debate Talk builds a reputation on being thorough with proof and research and documentation. So if you're going to come up against somebody who is accredited for being like that with just, well, it was written before the time, I mean, that's what you want to believe, but I'm not going to waste my time showing it to you. I'll put it in a class, and if you listening, you can hear it. But I'm not going to waste my time showing it to you, because if I do show it to you, or if you're going to repent right there on the spot in front of everybody and become a believer, no. You're going to get off the phone, sit down, think long and hard, and try to find something else to disagree with. And I'm not into that. If you tell somebody you want to see, this is my whole thing. If you tell somebody, if they show you something, you will be satisfied, and then they show you that, then be satisfied. Don't ask for it, then when you get it, you still like, well, no. That means you just grandstand. That means you're only here to disagree. You don't really want proof. You're hoping they can't show you proof. So you're asking for something that you hope they really can't show you. And then when they surprise you and do show you, then you like, well, I didn't want to see that anyway. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't going to do any good. So that's why I'm trying to tell LaRon, you can show them guys a million things proven. If somebody don't want to believe, they just don't want to believe, right?
Can y'all hear me now?
Well, you back at 12. Yeah, you good.
Yeah, my bad. You was right. I hit the mute button and my screen was going. I didn't realize I did it because I hit it on my headset on accident. but no, what I was gonna say was that the place that I went to, whenever Matthew 24, Luke 21 was discussed, it was always talk. People, this is a preterist doctrine. They say this all been fulfilled and all this stuff, and it was kind of like, hey, none of this happened, blah blah blah. And it was kind of like went in one ear and went out the other. But when I sat down and read it contextually, and I was like, man, hold on, he's talking to them. He's not talking to me. This is like 2,000 years ago. He's not even talking to me right now. He's talking about something that happened a long time ago. And when I saw Josh's video, I don't know how long ago this was. It must have been 5, 6 years ago you had that video up. 6, 7, I don't know, probably longer than that, ain't no telling. And I saw everything put into context about what was going on, and then you go back and you look at the research and everything that he said and how accurate it is undeniable. And then when you throw in the fact that this was stated and said well before it happened, and another thing too, and I'll say this, and this for anybody out there in the base, you go look this up too. Like another part when we talk about the wars and rumors of wars and stuff like that, you can read. I showed an example tonight about wars, but if you go back and read if you read just regular history during the first century, and I looked this up myself about 5, 6 years ago, and I'm telling you, anybody else can research this too, there were like 10 or 11, I'm not sure exactly, it was either 10 or 11, I know it's double digits, 10 or 11 wars that occurred during the first century. Now those are 10 or 11 wars that occurred in the first century. 7 of those 10 wars, I think 7 or 8 out of the 10 occurred between the time Christ died and between 70 AD. There were 10 of them in that span of time. You know what I'm saying? And those 30, 40 years, that generation, like he said, you're going to hear wars and rumors of wars. And you know what's coming. You know what I'm saying? In this time, it's going to be coming. There's war jumping up. Now, I ain't talking about the rumors of wars, what you hear about in Matthew 24, says rumors of wars, but you hear about the wars as the wars are coming. There are wars going on. There were almost 10 wars within that time period. And I don't know how people understand, like, 10 wars, and these were, like, Romans going against, like, you read about other nations, like the Celtics, up in Europe and stuff like that. There were, it was wars going on all over the middle of the earth. At that time, I mean, all you get to do is go back and research that stuff, man. That stuff, man, people don't even believe in no Bible, but people just writing history. Ain't got nothing to do with nothing. They said, man, then first there were over 10 wars, and most of them happened between the time the Messiah died and between 70 AD, which was if you put the cutoff point at 70 AD, and if you put from 70 AD back to like 40 AD, there were like 8 wars during that time period. 8 wars. 8 wars going on, and they ain't talking about the rumors, because people's always talking about going to war. People talking about going to war today, and I mean they actually happen. That's the rumors of war. So actually 10 of them actually jumped off. You know, they jumping off. Yep. So you know, when you go back and look at the accuracy of this stuff is incredible. It is unbelievable when you think about the accuracy of Ann and Daniel. But like Lamar was saying, Josh saying, LeVar was saying. Listen, people, the same arguments anybody makes against the New Testament, you can make the same thing against the Old Testament. The same thing. He said it's going to come quickly. Well, I can show you where in the Old Testament where it said this was going to happen. You're under the assumption it's going to happen fast, but it took a long time for it to happen. You know what I'm saying? Some people today talking about the prophecies or curses or something then. It took thousands of years for these things to happen. It's been 2,000 years. Where the Messiah get now? But shoot, I mean, you've been waiting on the Messiah for 2,000 years too. I mean, we've been waiting on him to come back. You waiting for him to come, period, for 2,000 years. So what you saying? You know what I'm saying?
He never showed up. He never showed up.
Yes, exactly. You know what I'm saying? He's supposed to have been here according to Daniel. He should have been here in the first century, but he should have been here by now, according to Daniel.
Right.
70 literal weeks or weeks of years, it don't matter. He should have been here.
That's right. And don't try to make
that was all I was trying.
And I was saying, don't try to make it tires, because the early rabbis, they understood that to be a messianic prophecy. And I think it was LeVar who I was texting earlier, and maybe it was you, Antoine. Y'all can correct me, but I told you they ain't about to call in and debate this. Who that was I texted that to? It was one of y'all. One of y'all texted me and y'all was saying
it was me. It was me because I was excited about the class, and I was saying how I can't wait to hear what they have to say about this tonight. And you were like, you won't hear what they have to say. And I knew that too, but it's just because we usually get this blank one.
Right. And you on Facebook when you can call in and press 1. Anybody, don't debate the class on Facebook. After the show go off the air, you want to debate on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? You want to have a Facebook debate when you can just press 1 right now and set the record straight for all your fellow non-messianics. You know what I'm saying? Don't have no Facebook debate. When I'm on Sal Show, I say what I got to say on Sal Show when I can say it on Sal Show. I'm not going to sit in on somebody's debate or they lesson and be sitting at home disagreeing, texting LeVar and Antoine about how much I don't like it. And then after the show over, then I'm all over Facebook running my mouth when I could just press 1. You know what I'm saying?
That's weak.
That's weak. That's weak. That ain't no, you know what I'm saying? If the information is flawed, it don't matter if you believe it or not or whatever. If the information is flawed, press 1, show the world that ABT is lying. They can't deny the accuracy of the prophecy. So all they can say is that, well, it was written after all this stuff took place. Well, if it was written after all this stuff took place, here's another question you got to ask yourself. Why would that even give any Christian any faith in Jesus Christ? Why would they go to the lions arenas and get torn apart by lions if they know they were living a lie? Who gonna die for a lie? A lie you know is a lie. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody gonna do that. That's stupid. They had faith in this word because they saw the validity of it. And even if you try to claim that it was written after fact, you still got to explain why all Christians made it out of Jerusalem and the rest of the Jerusalem non-Christians died. So you got to explain that. Why is it that if the Messiah was false, why is it that everybody that believed him was saved from the wrath of 70 AD and everybody who didn't died? That y'all know, no matter how you slice that up, you know, Jesus or or whoever non-Messianic that's listening but too scared to press one. They know no matter how you slice that up, that ain't how the Most High work in the Tanakh. Y'all know that. Y'all know good well the Most High ain't ever sent a legitimate prophet to warn the people on what they need to do to avoid the wrath, and a prophet that's telling people to do the opposite. Like, that reminds me of Jeremiah and the false prophet Hananiah. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And he was talking about God gonna remove the yoke of the king of Babylon off your neck. That's what Hananiah was saying, and Jeremiah had already been commissioned from the Lord to tell them no, they're gonna have to live out this captivity. So in this case, Jesus would be Hananiah for them. So who in the Bible benefited from listening to Hananiah and not listening to the true prophet? That ain't ever happened. So why in the world would 70 AD record, all the historians all record that the Jews suffered tremendously in 70 AD, but history also records that the Christians made it out. Listen to a fake false Messiah. Come on.
And here's the funny thing too. I'll say here's the funny thing about that too. During this time period, and I know a lot of the racist Hebrews want to be in denial about this, but during the feast days, and Josephus was clear that this was during the Passover, during the time of the Passover. During these times, Jews and proselytes. It wasn't just straight up full-blown, full-blooded Jews coming there. It was converts, proselytes, all of them came. They was coming to keep the feast days in Jerusalem. They came there. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them fought against that weren't Christians. They fought against it too. So all of them, they would come from all over the place, all over the world. They was coming there, trying to keep the feast. Here we come. You know what I'm saying? The ones that did come, and they came on down there, and what happened? If they didn't get out of there when they had a chance, they were stuck. That's why he said pray your fight don't happen on the Sabbath day. Jerusalem was shut down on the Sabbath anyway, so they couldn't get up out of there. That's why he said pray your fight don't happen on the Sabbath. They closed the gates. It was shut down. It was a wrap. You want to go in nowhere. But this is during the fact that, couldn't get out. So this is during the Passover, and all of them, Josephus tell you that they all came. You can read that in Acts. They coming off from all over the place, coming to keep the feast. Paul talked about, like, I want to go back to keep the feast. You know what I'm saying? Go back to Jerusalem. And that's what was going on. And it was during the Passover. So it was probably millions and millions of them cats there. You know what I'm saying? They got either taken away in slavery or were just completely, I don't even know. I think Kill put it nicely, bro. I might be putting it a little bit too nice for him.
He would say brutalized.
Brutalized. Yeah. For real. Torture,
but God don't let, but God, the God who they claim, the God of the Tanakh, who they claim would denounce JC, gonna let his people suffer. And then seeing a false prophet named JC walking on the scene that can tell people how to get away, but don't let his true people who don't listen to this false prophet suffer. Come on, y'all. Y'all smarter than that. Non-Messianic, Jesus or not, whoever in that group, y'all smarter than that. This ain't even on info. I'm being serious. Y'all know good and well. In fact, forget the whole 70 AD and Jesus thing. Show me one time, let's just get rid of the New Testament entirely. Show me one time in the Tanakh where God ever punished the people for listening to the true prophet and reward the people listening to the false prophet. Show me that. I want to see that. Because that's what basically y'all trying to get us to believe. Y'all trying to get us to believe that Jesus was a false prophet, but yet everybody who listened to him benefited greatly and survived, and everybody who didn't died in 70 AD in Jerusalem, who got stuck up in there. So explain to me, why would God let that happen? God don't operate like that. You follow what I'm saying? Like I told you, Antoine, they ain't going to press one, bro, because they got their history books out, too. A lot of these guys got Josephus, too. A lot of these guys seen these quotes I went to and they went online. They know we're telling the truth. They have no answer. They're probably thinking to themselves, well, we'll figure something out. But tonight, we stumped. Tonight, we done. We can't say nothing tonight. And that's what I predicted. Remember I told you that, S1? I can't wait to hear what they going to say. What exactly did I text you back? What did I tell you, bro, when you said that? You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. No, I'm here. You said you won't.
There you go. I said you won't.
You said you
That's
won't.
exactly what I told him. I said you won't. You won't. Because I know what this information is. I doubt that they even knew this when they were Messianic. Because if they did, they wouldn't have jumped ship so easily. You know what I'm saying? See, nobody blindly follows ABT. We do our homework here, bro. Like I said, I got a whole show I'm going to do on Sal Show. It's going to be titled something to the effect of the Messianic prophecies from a non-Messianic perspective, in which we're going to show every Messianic prophecy that Christians claim. Israelites made it a Messianic prophecy first. So that's going to debunk the little lie that your boy told that Psalms 22 and 16 was conveniently translated by Christians to be Messianic. That's going to debunk that little lie right there. Every place we go, we ain't going to go to the New Testament, but just to show you that the New Testament writers got that same information. This whole book is a Hebrew book, sisters and brothers. So it's written from a Hebrew perspective. What they want to do is get to the New Testament and take Israel out the equation. You know what I'm saying? Even the New Testament, and here's the funny thing too, even the New Testament raises some of the objections about Jesus' messiahship that they raised. They try to act like the New Testament wasn't aware of this stuff. They had the same questions in the New Testament concerning the Messiah that y'all have. They was wondering why, if you the Messiah, why you ain't ruling. The Pharisees asked Jesus, they said, you say you got to get lifted up, meaning crucified, but the law say Christ abideth forever. The Messiah supposed to rule forever. How you say he must be lifted up? In other words, how you say he got to die? They had them same questions. They were raising these same questions in Luke 24 after Jesus died.
You're right.
They asked, they were like, we thought he was going to be the one that was going to redeem Israel. Right?
Shoot, man, they asked him and asked if he was going to restore at this time he's going to restore the kingdom.
Exactly. These same questions were posed. So it's not like we walking around oblivious to what Jesus had not done. Jesus wasn't even oblivious to the stuff they were raising up against him. You follow what I'm saying? But that's what he came to reveal. He came to reveal that everything was not going to be done all at once. And you know what? They believe that too. That's why they created Messiah ben Joseph and Messiah ben David to bridge that gap. Messiah ben Joseph, suffer, die, possibly crucified like Jesus. Messiah ben David comes and conquer. They're coming up with the same thing. And I can show you in the Talmud. Oh, by the way, I read the Talmud and the Mishnah too. That's for your two guys, you know, Shallah and Daniel, and Ben Yaakov. I read the Talmud too. So, and I read the Mishnah too. So we can deal in that too if that's what y'all want to do.
And I'm gonna say another thing too for LaRon Campbell, and I don't suggest that he go back in there. That place ain't nothing but Mars Hill, and we got class on that 2 weeks ago.
Hill.
People starting that junk. Yep. I ain't even know if they ain't been on there in 2 years, so I'm praise God for that. But
I be going back in there sometimes, but looking in there, but I wanted them to call in and press the number one. They said they called in, they was listening, you know, but they have yet to press the number one. But in the group, they still want to keep saying something. And I don't understand that, you know, if you guys, they called in the other night, matter of fact, when they had the show, when ABT wasn't on here, why y'all don't call in tonight, you know? And that's the
You just
thing.
answered your own question, bro. ABT is on here. You just answered your own question, you know, because what can you really say? All you can do is call in and just say, I don't believe. And if that's your attitude, then, okay, that's not really telling me anything. And that same thing can be done to you. You can go on Jesus or not right now and just like, I don't believe. And they're going to be like, well, brother, you don't believe. You know, I'm not asking them to believe me. I'm asking them to disprove me. That's what I'm asking to do. And we in the overtime segment of the show, it probably going to click off. I don't know. And there's really nothing you can do. You can't rewrite history. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing you can do. If you call in right now, all you're going to do is say, I don't believe he was, and I believe that it was written later. Okay, fine. But for all the thinking...
Even if...
Hold on. What did you say?
Yeah, somebody press number one, so we only got like 15 minutes left. You want to take it right now, or?
Yeah, put it through.
Yeah, let's take. All right, let's take that right now. Hold on 1 second. Let's go to 732-986. You're live in there.
Oh, well, I hope I ain't disappoint y'all. This is Jeff.
No,
Jeff, man.
yeah, y'all was ready to go. Y'all was ready to go to war.
Well, actually, you didn't disappoint me because I know they ain't either one of them gonna do it, bro. I know that wasn't gonna happen. But I'm glad to hear from you all the same.
Right. I ain't even mean to press, but now that I'm on, great class. The thing is, and I was talking to the brothers, especially, when Antoine came up here a couple weeks ago, and, we had like a little conference, and we were talking about, and I had mentioned about the different angles, what was the arguments that these brothers were going to come up with, because there was some, I ain't going to mention no names, but, it was supposed to be some heavy hitters that was passionate about this subject. And, and all the hype and all the debates, all the posts on Facebook, and nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? And it made me think about when, you have like the heavyweight champion and you pay $75 for pay-per-view. And then when the fight come and ain't no comp, he like, man, I shouldn't even wasted my money, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's the feeling I had, and I'm disappointed by a lot of those brothers, man. And the people that sitting under these brothers, they need to really question and see if they learning the right things, because this is a serious topic. The brother last night, Dwayne Bonton, he was talking about your soul is at stake here. So, y'all need to start checking who, you sitting under. And great class, and, can't wait till the next class on Sabbath, man.
Praise God, Jeff.
Praise God, Jeff.
And just to let them know, for these non-men, if y'all already shell-shocked from this, because LeVar, Antoine, and Jeff can testify, they already knew this information. I went through this in Matthew 24. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They already know about this. This ain't even a new ABT class. This is like a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old ABT class, and y'all shell-shocked. Y'all ain't even dealt with the newest stuff that we about to drop concerning this topic. This is just the tip of the iceberg. But to be fair though, I told Antoine when he texted me, because he was excited just like Jeff, man, I can't wait. I said, dude, you ain't gonna hear nothing. I told you that, Antoine. I told you. I said, you won't. And he was like, man, dude, I knew what I was about to drop. I know the validity of it. Because number one, I know they big history buffs just like I am. Allah is a history buff. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not taking a shot at him. That's a compliment. He's a history buff, the brother in his history. I can't knock him on that. I got to give credit where credit due. So in order to get around this, you got to get rid of Josephus. You know what I'm saying? And the brother know his history. So if you're going to call in, you're going to have to just be done with Josephus. And like I said, even the Talmud verifies that Jesus existed in the first century. So, and they called him a false prophet, and they say he was doing miracles, right? But of course, they called him a false prophet then, because 70 AD hadn't happened yet.
Yep. And then what's crazy was another thing when he was saying that there were false prophets arising, claiming to be him, claiming to be the Messiah. What's crazy is they say, oh, that was written after 70 AD. Well, there were people coming out right after 70 AD saying the same exact thing. So he's still no way around. They was doing it before 70 AD and afterwards. Catholic, I forgot what one of them name was Ben something. A lot of Ben. There was another one came around 80. He tried to revolt again. Like after they had already been conquered, he tried to come back again and to claim he the Messiah and stuff like that. Man, this stuff is so easy. I mean, that was written afterwards. Well, a dude came after that. Now what's your excuse? There's no way around it, but there's no way you can get around the stuff that the Messiah said, man. There's no way you can get around it. And
the proof is in the silence tonight. You follow what I'm saying? Even LaRon Campbell can even see it like, dang, man, y'all on Facebook, you stand in your lane. You stand over there in your little group in your lane. Because when the big boys come on Debate Talk for you, what happened when you were growing up back in the day when you was a little kid and you playing on the playground? What happened when the big kids showed up? You went home. You know what I'm saying? You remember how you be on the playground, then the older kids show up, then, like, I don't know about the big kids, man. You leave the playground. And that's what happened. The big kids don't came on the playground, little kids don't went home.
Got kicked off the basketball court.
Got kicked off the basketball court. That's exactly what
big kids come. We got to go. We can't play with them. We can't play with them.
Exactly. And I remember that too. I remember, you know what I'm saying, because my basketball skills has always been whack. I ain't even on front. But I do remember when I was on there with my friends, you know, getting scrubbed up by the little people, big kids. And especially when the older kids came on, they'd be like, dude, we could play whole court sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So we couldn't even go down to the other end of the court. You know, we couldn't even go down to the other end of the court and just be over there. They said we could play whole court. They kicked you right off. That's exactly what happened tonight. Like LeBron Kemp, I was calling all in last night. Yeah, because the big kids weren't on there last night. You know what I'm saying? Now the big boys don't came on there.
Yeah, I think I have King and Shia back on. Hold on. I think I have King and Shia back on. 201-623. You live on air. 201-623. Are you there? King and Shia? 201.
Oh, and by the way, there's no, and let me just point this out too while you're trying to get him through. There's no disrespect to the brothers who were holding it down last night. You feel me? They're just showing y'all how they view us. You feel me? You know?
Yeah.
But
right.
That's the whole thing, man. That's the whole thing. I'm like, man, you know, don't be on Facebook debating and the guy you got a problem with ain't nothing but a single press of a button away. You know what I'm saying? I know one thing, if the roles were reversed and I was just chilling at the house and Sal just told me or Antoine, yo, man, Shallah, whoever, I'm just using him as an example because this other non-Messianics I'm not talking to. They're like, hey, man, he blasting you right now. If I ain't doing nothing, I can get in. You better believe I'm calling in. You know what I'm saying? I'm calling the number. I'm going to do it. I'm saying for mine. You know, so.
You only have like 10 minutes on the air. I don't want to say cut off. I want to get to the last statements from the brothers. But let's let you know, tomorrow's the last show. We got the post debate tomorrow. Got the post debate. Can Jesus be found in the Old Testament? You don't want to miss that show at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Brother Sha'ala versus Zadok Ben Israel. But the post debate is the second post debate we've ever had on Debate Talk Radio. So make sure you be here live tomorrow. But let's get some final words from, let's start with LeVar, I guess. LeVar, any final words you want to say?
Yeah, peace in our name, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So all the Debate Talk family out there listening, thanks again, Brother Sal, for having us on. I'd like to say, once again, I want to echo some of the sentiments that my brother LeBron Campbell had said earlier, that if you teach on the doctrine of that sword that Jesus talked about, then, you know, you wouldn't be confused. These brothers do not understand the New Testament at all whatsoever. But I will say this, and I'm going to repeat what I said earlier. If you cannot show these people Christ through the Tanakh on a spiritual level, we've given y'all another avenue. And so what they don't understand is more to it than they think it is. And this is another aspect of this particular conversation or debate that has been raging on for centuries on end. And I was like, again, to shout out all the brothers that represented for the Messiah on the round table. I thought you did an excellent job. You know, all the brothers and sisters that are listening in who believe in Messiah, this is to strengthen your faith. This is not to convert any stiff-necked Hebrew, because a lot of these people have their minds made up and they want to follow this ignorance, and they can follow it until they death come. I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't want to do nothing with y'all. I love y'all as brothers in humanity, but again, you ain't leading me to the lake of fire with that nonsense. Again, this is Brother LeVar signing off, and like I said, peace in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Shalom.
Antoine, any final words?
Yes. I was going to say that. Hello?
Yeah,
I feel you.
Got you.
You on it now, yeah.
Yeah, we can't hear you now.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello? Yeah, okay.
Hear you now.
No, I just want to say, I really enjoyed being a part of this lesson tonight. Bro.Josh did an excellent job again, as usual. Thank God for you. Everybody at ABT family, Jeff, Abdul, Felix, Elder David, Brother Zachariah, KC, Kevin, everybody, Lisi, everybody at ABT, man. I really appreciate you guys. I really love you guys so much. Appreciate the fellowship that we have, and you guys really mean a lot to me. I also wanted to say to the Debate Talk for You audience, you guys really, really, you know, and I don't know what's moving inside. You have to forgive me. But it really meant a lot to me. Recently, I was able to. Everybody know me. I'm from the South. I'm from Florida, and I was able to go up to New York this summer, a few weeks ago, and I visited with a lot of ABT brothers up in New York, and I was able to meet up with Sal as well. Again, I've met up with Sal before down here in Georgia. Because about a year or two ago. But the brother, he really went out of his way to Brother Sal, this is, he really went out of his way to come see us and to meet up with a couple of, and it wasn't very long that we were with him. We were probably with him about 10, 20 minutes. He had to hop on the bus. He just left for work. Then he went to the gym, and then he had to hop on the bus, and he came over there to Brooklyn to where I was staying at that time. And he came over to see him with his brother Jeff, and just seeing the brother and everything that he does in the ministry, people, I'm telling you, man, this dude is very outstanding. The ministry that the platform that he's given to all of us is just like, I appreciate it so much, and I think all of us, we could do better. And Sal doesn't know I'm doing it, but I really feel like, out of the kindness of our hearts, just consider what this man, is doing for us and everything. And if there anything you could do to help out his ministry, whether it be through a donation, through some kind of support, promotion, anything, to help him out, just please do it, man. I just seeing him that day, it kind of really set it upon my heart. And I said, the next time I go on this show, man, I got to tell the people what I experienced and how I felt. And I really appreciate him. Also, the stuff that ABT, that Bro.Josh has done, as far as the ministry is good, man. Get on that website, get that stuff. This stuff is deep. I'm telling you. So I know them and all them dudes, they just make all them little pop shots and stuff they want. Man, they know what time it is. They know where we at. All they got to do is go in there and download that video and press play, and they know what time it is. It's a wrap. A game, set, match. It's over. They don't want to deal with us, because once they deal with it, then that means their whole monopoly and they money-making scheme and all that stuff to get people to go in there constantly argue and debate and pay money for it and get rich off of y'all. The same thing they doing that the Sunday pastors do, pimping people out of money. They doing the same thing on the conscious end. Ain't no different. And in this game set match, when they with the book and the Wabian book, the creation conflict DVD, and now with this new homosexual agenda, and Josh already dropped some tidbits on that thing. And let me tell y'all, I'll be the first to tell y'all some of the stuff. And Josh can leave hints if he wants to. That's on him. But I ain't gonna spoil it. But I'm telling y'all, with this homosexual agenda, when it comes to them, it's chain. But other than that, man, praise Yahweh. I am so man, praise God. This is awesome. Shalom for everybody. Shalom. Peace.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Antoine. Brother Josh, got like 3 minutes left, brother. 3 minutes, man.
Yeah, I ain't got that much to say, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all see what time it is. Praise God to the Debate Talk universe. Praise God to the ABT family. You know what I'm saying? Lisi, Antoine, LeVar, Elder David, Jeff, the other Jeff, Casey, Selah. I'm just naming everybody I can think of, because I don't know everybody's real name or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, be on the lookout, because, Sarnetta Thompson, Blog Talk radio show, taking pop shots. He being very vague. Okay, once this thing right here drops out, they going to know exactly who it came from. You follow what I'm saying? He going to know exactly who it came from. So, like I said, non-messianics, they ducking, just like I told Antoine they would. Praise God to everybody. Thank y'all for tuning in. A water swordsman, LeRon Campbell, appreciate your input. Also, King, I forget his name. I just know he's a king. You know what I'm saying?
Yeshaya.
What's his name?
Yeshaya.
King Yeshaya. Appreciate your input, man. Email me, hit me up if you want to talk. That's it for me, Sal. You can take it home.